Hello and welcome back to the HCS EU Regional Finals. Now the sun is wrapping things up in Valencia, but in this arena, it's about to become more alive than ever before this weekend because it's grand finals time. That is right, it's Championship Sunday and everything is up for grabs. Money, but also that very important trophy on the main stage. I'm so excited to see who is going to be holding that one up by the end of this evening. I'm joined by Clutch, Bravo and Lethal. Gentlemen, what an epic grand finals this is going to be, because I'll tell you something, Quadrant have clawed their way back into this. An incredible revenge grudge match coming forward there as well. And Bravo, you had the best season in the house really for that one. Yeah. You know, talk to me about what you saw. You know, Quadrant, they're a different level at the moment in time.
They are, and I think we wondered if we'd see a different elimination final. I think a lot of people suspected that it might have been a different elimination final, and it sure was. I think you could argue that this is bringing kind of the right story if you look at how we were back in November, right? This has been the Acend Quadrant year, and this is now a chance for them to prove who's going to take home the biggest prize on LAN.
It certainly is, and I've got to say, you know, Quadrant coming off the back of their first Pro Series win. I did mention the phrase backpedaling a little bit. Well, I'll tell you what, they've got back on the bike. They've pedaled as fast as they possibly can into the grand finals. Do you think they have what it takes right now, Clutch, to be able to actually achieve this, you know, reset the bracket?
I absolutely think they do. I think if everybody can play well enough, if they can continue the train going, it's going to be a long road, but this train, the tracks are there. They just got to keep it fueled, right? It's all about how much fuel do you have in the tank for me if you're Quadrant. And everybody's got to have gas in the tank. It cannot just be the Chick show. As great as he is, SLG is going to have to play something similar to like last series. And Urix is going to have to step up and make big plays when given the chance. And when you saw Shad's KD ratio at the start of the day, might be a little bit worse, but if he can play as well as he has been all weekend, he's going to give this Quadrant roster a little bit of life as well.
Yeah, 100%. I do think we are going to have those two main players on the team step up for Quadrant here if they do want to take on the contenders. That is Acend. Speaking of Acend, Lethal, they've been lights out. They've had a couple of bumps in the road this weekend. Maybe it was first-time LAN jitters with their new addition of Respectful coming through, but they were looking pretty good to get into that grand finals without a hitch. Talk to me about this team. What can they bring to this main stage in this grand final?
They've got all the tools in the shed. They've got basically all the individual skill they require. It's just a matter of how they're playing against Quadrant here. They've had a bit of a break, so sometimes the first series can go all the way. We've seen it enough times in the past in previous finals. But now for Acend, it depends how much they can prove themselves. They've done it online for nearly 2 years. Can they do it in the LAN environment? It looks like the possibility, yes. But Quadrant are looking much, much stronger. Ever since they dropped into the loser bracket to play against Jailings, they also rectified everything they required, and now they're looking much, much stronger, and stronger than ever, just to add. But for Acend, there's still a couple of bits here and there which I'm a little bit worried about, but so far so good from what I've seen. I could be nitpicking here looking at Acend and how they're performing, but Quadrant, it would be surprised me if it took us to a bracket reset.
Yeah, indeed. Let's take a look at the series layout right now, though. I think you're kind of onto something here, Lethal, because, you know, Asika did come up here. He did mention the fact that there were moments where they were like, wait, hold on, why is this so close? Why is this so difficult? And I think that does come down to complacency, right? They kind of came into that one thinking they were 3-0. He said it himself, and Brav, they can't have that kind of mentality here. They slip at one time, Quadrant is going to pounce on it. They're going to take that opportunity. We saw that happen with Na'Vi. It can certainly happen again.
That's exactly right. We saw that happen, right? Yeah, Na'Vi takes the first round there on Streets, and right away, Quadrant roars back. They find their stride and really didn't look back after that. So couldn't agree more. Tough road, though, for Quadrant with the 2 best-of-7s. I think there might be a little bit of different bets placed if this is a single best-of-7. Let's not forget, Acend is undefeated here in the winner's bracket. And at least 4 of those will need to go to Quadrant, and then they'll have to do it all over again. It's going to be a marathon, and I can't wait to see it get underway.
It certainly will be a marathon.
Anybody from the org of Quadrant, if your team wins the first best-of-7, I suggest having some food ready, because I'm not kidding when I mean they're going to need fuel in the tank for 2 best-of-7s.
Absolutely.
It's going to be very difficult, and so is predicting this one as well, gentlemen, and it is the time. So, Clutch, who are you going to be going with?
I think Andy mentioned it already. It's been a long year so far. This tournament, we thought they were going to be mixed up. We thought there were going to be upsets. Guess what? You look at the bracket, the top 5, it's chalk. Give me the winners. Give me Acend all day, every day.
Okay.
What's your series score?
I'll take him 4-1.
I was going to take Acend 4-1 as well.
Wow.
I'm going to say Acend 4-2, but the problem is with those game types, they both like pretty much all the same ones. So it's just basically who's better on the day here. But Acend, though, have to try and prove us wrong. I don't think they will. It should be a 4-2.
Well, let's hear some fine talk from the teams right now, because we did sit down with both our grand finalists to find out how they are feeling. This is a big one, folks. The trophy is on the line. Let's see what they had to say.
not a walk in the park, obviously, but this is like a day in the office for us.
Just hit our bullets, win our battles. No, we've got strategies as well, but I can't tell you that.
Lock this down, it's 2 kills for your team. Norris comes with gravity, pushes past it. What a brilliant play here to make sure he doesn't come up garbage before pushing in. Now stays alive, gets 1, gets 2, gets 3. It's a late game triple kill for Nurik.
The chance for our team to be fast possible, but I think we are here for the first place. So.
Really defending B, but for now, it looks like the move has come into C. And here's Nurik. Hey, we talked about FLG, we talked about Jig. How about Nurik? He can use.
We can't wait to play in the grand final, so CO here, and I hope that everyone's gonna have fun.
If I have a message for my opponent here, be ready, because Quadrant on LAN is not the same as Quadrant online.
Now it's time to welcome your EU Regional Grand Finalists to the stage. Please welcome Acend and Quadrant. Well, both teams are ready to go. They're getting onto the stage. They have that trophy just to the side of them, just to remind them what is on the line here, including the prize pool. And now it is my great pleasure to take you to the caster booth for the last time today and this weekend. We have Gaskin and Scherzi on the mic.
Thanks so much, Lottie. It's grand finals time. In the land of Le Classico, we have Le Classique. It's an all-French affair here in grand finals. Dan, can't wait to jump into this one.
Yeah, it's an all-French affair, and there's Snipe Joe.
And respectful.
And there's respectful as well. We've got a couple of English blokes in there just to make sure everything's that extra bit spicy. But of course, this is what we were waiting for. This is what everyone was pretty much expecting all season long. These two teams have been back and forth. Quadrant have been that closest competitor to Acend time and time again. Even prior to Rally, it was always, can Quadrant do it? Are they good enough? Well, now we're going to find out. It's 2 best-of-7s if Quadrant are going to take down Acend.
You say these two teams have been back and forth, but in truth, in reality, it's been all one-way traffic. It's been all Acend online. They haven't matched up in this weekend. They haven't played each other at all. Is it a real question mark for Quadrant? Can they really cause the upset?
Quadrant have come to life at the perfect time. They looked a little bit out, a little bit dejected when they lost 3-0 to Na'Vi. They went into that elimination bracket. They beat J-Lings. They come back and they beat Na'Vi in the elimination bracket final. And now they turn into a squad that really can do damage here to Acend. Now, don't get me wrong, Acend are going to be confident as ever, thinking they can take down the world right now. But you better believe that every member of that Quadrant roster believes that they can win this series, and that is important.
On the other side of things, wearing the purple jerseys, there's experience on that roster. There's LAN winners, Snipe Drone, respectful. They've won LANs before. Will that pay dividends for them here?
You heard respectful during interviews. I want to guide these two young guns through their first ever LAN victory. I want to show them what it feels like to be a champion in this environment. They have what it takes. They've done it. We've seen it. They play like champions. Now all you have to do is win this grand final in front of you, this best-of-7. All you need is 4 games under your belt, and you can call yourself European champions.
Game 1 in the best-of-7. CTF Bazaar. Talk to me about Acend and talk to me about Quadrant's chances.
This is the perfect way to start for Acend. Capture the Flag Bazaar is their home ground. They've only ever lost it once in the entirety of HCS throughout European Halo. Quadrant have got it all to do here, and I'm sure Acend will be feeling confident as ever.
It's backs to the walls for Quadrant. The worst possible game type they could have asked for. And for Acend, they're on home ground.
That being said, if Quadrant were to take down Acend here, imagine what that would do for their confidence.
Shields up, weapons hot, Snipe Drone is the man to kick us off.
And straight into Rockets as well. And I love this positioning. Can get grapple, can watch over shield. Rockets are above him if he needs to. But instantly we're seeing a Ruckus in the middle of the map.
Fight goes down, it's a brawl. Overshield's there to be grabbed. Chick's gonna be the first one to step out, pick it up, pop it into his chest. That's good from him. A great possible start here if he can string a few kills together. Snipe Drone backing away. A few denial nades, gonna get away and escape with his life. But the Quadrant push, it's still coming.
And I will say that Acend historically have been a little bit iffy when it comes to starting strategies, even on some of their best maps, and Quadrant perhaps taking full advantage of that here. Already have a flag run on the move, and they're going low. We saw J-Lings doing this a lot. We've seen North American teams doing this a lot. If you do it correctly, it can be very successful.
Acend are used to coming into LAN tournaments with expectations on a top 12, top 8. The expectations have been set here clear from the get-go. They're expected to win this. Does that bring added pressure?
It definitely adds pressure, but respectful. He said he's not feeling it. He said the team's not feeling it, and that is only going to bode well for their chances. Not only if they stop the flag, they're now trying to get a return, and they're running one of their own.
Flag sent home, and Snipe Drone is about to punch home his first flag, completely uncontested. Purple strike first.
A great response to a very hot and fast-paced start from Quadrant. Could have been very different. Quadrant is slayed out there when they were running it low. They could have taken the lead. They could have pushed Acend's back to the wall. But that's what Acend do, Richie. Acend can turn maybe a bad situation into a good one. They recognize where Quadrant were running that flag. They overextended into the other area, and they made it count.
10 seconds to the next overshield. How do Quadrant respond then? Chick staying alive in lockers. 2 kills have gone their way, but Sika's stepping out for a moment. Chick's caught unaware. Overshield is down, flag is out. If he can win this 1v1, which he does! They're in big trouble though. Overshield's there to be grabbed. It's being popped, but Legend is trying to stop this flag over by the pillars.
Massive kills from Sika to make sure that Quadrant are unable to run this flag easily. Nurix has to win this engagement, will do so, and the flag just about still alive. Sika, the last remaining player, once more.
Nurix gets it through the double doors. And looks as though Quadrant are about to answer back and tie us up 1-1 in the flag.
Nurix with 7 kills. Nurix who's putting the flag in. Nurix who has finally woken up in this tournament. Where was he 2 series ago? It doesn't matter anymore because he's arrived, he's making a statement, and Quadrant are like a completely different team to what we saw earlier in this tournament.
I'm going to choose to wake up at any point in a tournament. Grand Finals is definitely the situation to do it. He drops down, gets close to his teammate Chick over towards Rockets. Snipe Drone has thinned the herd though. It's been a trade. Rockets fired at the wall. It'll be enough to eliminate Nurix. Here comes the push from Acend once more. Through the double doors he passes. No shots received. Double kill for him with the Rockets, and he's punched a hole straight through Quadrant.
And they just fell in front of him at that point. Needs to have some support in this fight. Snipe Drone's there, but arrives a little bit too late. This is the duo I was talking about when we came into this tournament. The Snipe Drone respectful effect. They know how each other work. They've played with each other for years, and now they have a chance to run a flag together.
Snipe Drone's been such a thorn in the side, such a sizzle in the spine. 2 players go down once more, but a spiker grenade will be enough to stop this flag from moving any further. Legends on hand though to get the touch and to keep on juggling. Quadrant remain 2 down. They're in trouble. 4 up for Acend.
2 down, and 2 of them have just spawned over towards Thruster Pack as well. So this should be a guaranteed cap, bar a miracle for some nades tossed across over the top of the map, perhaps? No, 2-1, and Acend regain their lead, and quite rightly so with how they've just had that passage of play.
Lead restored. Worst possible news once again. Quadrant down to just 1. Nurix alone in the bar. The bar is closed. No serving drinks, no refreshments will come his way. How he needs teammates, some assistance up there. Respectful's behind enemy lines once more, and he's got the kill onto Chick. And Nurix in a 1v1, it's a trade, but that one favors Acend as Respectful's moving the flag once more.
And notice how effective it is, Respectful just pushing through those double doors. Yes, okay, he had Rockets the previous time, but this time he had a very easy stroll through bottom middle and said, well, if you're going to leave the door wide open, why wouldn't I walk through it?
Bulldog, 2 barks. Here's 1. That'll be the end of it though. Snipe Drone cuts it short. 2 shots in a melee. We've seen that before in Halo. Not usually results in a kill. Shad, last man standing for Quadrant once more. They're losing the numbers game every time.
They are getting outslayed at the moment, and Acend are making these kills count, but as I say that, the return comes through. So Quadrant, that's all they need to do. It doesn't matter if you're getting outslayed, as long as you can do the objective, as long as you can get these returns. But of course, they do find themselves 2-1 down, so they need to start to get some flags moving. 6 minutes, 42 seconds on the clock.
With how this game type has gone in the past, with it being so heavily skewed towards Acend, is it good enough for a Quadrant just to keep this competitive?
I think if Quadrant can keep it competitive, knowing how good Acend are, that will give them a lot of confidence for sure. Snipedrone, last remaining player, does have the Bulldog though. If Quadrant can kind of sniff him out here, if they can take him down, they'll have that man advantage going into this push.
Snipedrone has been living in Quadrant's treehouse. Out the back garden, getting all the sun, stealing your electricity. You need to evict him from there as quick as possible because he is causing you pain.
He's so annoying to play against because not only is he staying alive, but it's the amount of damage he's going to output from this position. Just little tickles in the back every now and then, a sprinkle of a BR shot to make you second guess yourself, try and work out where you're being shot. He might be rewarded with an overshield for all this play.
He might get it for free. Nurix is down bottom middle and a rocket comes and connects. Huge from Nurix. The second one won't do the same sort of damage, but a teammate on hand, and Chick scoops it up, and Quadrant are starting to roll.
Quadrant have done very well at getting 3 dead for Acend, but that 4th player is consistently staying alive, and that is why it's impossible for them to get into the base to pull a flag, because they're always searching for that, like this last player. They need a solid all 4 dead before they can get a realistic push going on here.
An opportunity is not going to come now as 2 members have been cut down. Chick trying to even the odds, gets 1. Respectful scampers away and escapes with his life, but only for a moment as Nurix has put him in the respawn screen. But his flag has been slowed down to a crawl. Seek is putting shots down, and 3 bursts have done enough to take him down to no shields. Chick will try and win the fight and does so successfully, gets a killing spree. But 2 members of Acend on hand, but 2 go dead, but 3 down for Quadrant.
It was almost the moment there. If Chick was able to stay alive, if that final bullet had gone into the head of his opponent, we could have seen a run for Quadrant. And we need those moments. We need to see players like Chick, like SLG stepping up. We so many times say how they are some of the best players in Europe, and we know they are. They know they are. We just need those clutch moments, those kind of multi-kills that really set you aside from the rest of the group.
2-1 the score then. Just under 5 minutes to play. Has been all one-way traffic, but Acend definitely shaving it in the slays and on the scoreline ever so slightly right now. It is Quadrant that have to make the moves. It's them that could possibly need to make the first mistakes here. And Acend can slow things down. They have the option if they so require it. Flag has been pulled. SLG gonna try and escort it all the way home, and with kills like that, they're gonna be massive. But Respectful has taken him out. Bulldog for Nurix, but he wins the fight. 3 dead for Acend.
It's been Nurix in the kill feed over and over again, whether it be entry frags, whether it be important frags, it doesn't matter, it's Nurix all over it. And it's an overshield now for Quadrant to work with, but they are aware of where Acend may be hanging out in bar. He does go down though. Quadrant just haven't had that moment where they can break into Ascend's base. The defense has been on point.
They keep getting into treehouse, getting into bar, but cannot push any further. That needs to change because they desperately need a flag cap. At 3 minutes 35 on the clock, time is going to start to play a factor.
This is why Acend are so good at Bazaar, because once they take a lead, they can really just throttle their opponents. They almost force them back into their spawn. As soon as they feel any sort of confidence flowing through them, they back off. They play defense until they win those engagements and they can go for a rocket or an overshield.
Dynamo Nade has resulted in a trade eventually. 3 members apiece stand. Possible side smack and a BR shot to Snipedrone. Nurix trying to win the second 1v1, but this time will come up just a little bit short. Communication to his teammate. Shad crouched down, scoped top rockets. Legend is aware of this, will not step out. And Shad perhaps guilty of watching him a little bit too long. Chick eventually gets the kill. This could be the opportunity, this could be the opening.
Needs to happen soon, only 3 minutes remaining. Someone give SLG a shake, wake him up. There we go, he's got a rocket. This could be the moment that you need from Quadrant when you need your big players to step up. Rocket doesn't connect somehow.
The rocket hits that rather large plasma screen attached to a tree. What a really strange place to put a television. But Flag's on the move. And television has saved Snipedrone's life, but only for a moment. It's the players here that have overextended. Nurix going back, and it's Respectful throwing down those nades. Players down to half shields. Nurix desperately screaming, begging, crying for help. But Respectful makes sure he's on hand to get the return.
How has Respectful managed to do that? The grenades were perfect. The assisting from the team was also on point, and now they can run a counter cap. Quadrant, they were so close to getting that cap to bring them back into this game, and now they've got to try and scramble off spawn.
Legend has gotten it to his porch, and Respectful guided back in. It was him who got the return, and he's come all the way back home to put real breathing space. No, there's a player on hand to get the stop, but is anybody else there to apply pressure? 3v3, numbers advantage now in favor of Quadrant. Can SLG stay alive?
Like Tarzan came swinging in to save the day, and now Quadrant have their chance to try and run a flag. Somehow, some way, they keep this one alive.
Can Shad live? The answer is no. Can his teammates live around this flag? Play slow if they need to. They need to wait for each other. SLG, though, he has been eliminated. The latest on Quadrant, they were 3 dead for a moment, and this flag is dead in the water.
Flag gets sent home. 1 minute and 15 on the clock. Acend just need to keep doing what they've been doing for the last 5 minutes or so, and that's play defense. As for Quadrant, they need to gather the troops here. They need something to give them that final push.
1 minute. Reads on the clock. The sand running out of time. 2 players go down. The Slays are going in the wrong direction.
They are going in the wrong direction, but finally Chick steps in. He gets the double kill. That's what you want from one of the biggest and best players. Nurix gets a 3rd, and now Quadrant are in the ascendancy. They have the chance to push in here, but they need to make sure they clear out their back.
The tale is old as time. Again, they have a player behind them doing damage. Shad's the last player. Legend spots him out. This is a massive 1v1, but Shad's been forced to back down. Legend plays his life expertly. 24 seconds remain.
And with Shad going down then, after he manages to respawn, surely there's not time for Quadrant to push through, but maybe they've got one last chance, but it has to happen now.
Perhaps one last roll of the dice. Acend playing full defense. If you want it, you're going to have to come get it. As they descend on the base, Legend backs himself in that 1v1 engagement. It's a 4v3, making it 3v2 now as 2 kills go in their favor, and Acend strike first.
As they've done all season long, Bazaar capture the flag, goes in favor of Acend, and they lead 1-0 in this grand finals. Legend literally a goalkeeper at the end of that game, protecting the flag. No one was coming near it. And even though Quadrant gave it their best effort and they had some amazing returns, amazing chances, Acend are just so strong once they do set up that fort.
Legend made himself look real big. Peter Schmeichel-esque, you might say. There was nothing getting past him there. You shall not pass. Gandalf between the 2 pillars. But Acend draw first blood here. Quadrant on the ropes, but this is what we expected. But they did keep it competitive.
Very competitive indeed, and I think that bodes well for the rest of this series, and particularly Nurix with 23 kills. I've been highlighting him as a potential problem or a potential solution to this Quadrant roster, and if he can carry on playing like that as the series develops, as long as the rest of the team catches up a little bit, Quadrant can certainly make a series of this one. Because remember, it's a best of 7 now, not a best of 5, so going 1-0 down is not the end of the world.
SLG, though, going 12 and 21. The experience that he has, you need better from your experienced players.
And even though his damage dealt was enough to suggest he was helping in fights, you just expect so much from SLG because of his history, right? Because he is that player that steps up and has those big moments. But it's okay, you can have an off game in a best of 7. That's why it's not be-all and end-all right now in game number 1, especially on Bazaar capture the flag, which is very much Ascend's best game type.
Talking about players who had a bit of a struggle, talking about players who made some key, pivotal decisions and game plays in that one there. Respectful, not only defending his flag, but getting returns, getting flag captures. He had rockets going through double doors, getting multi-kills.
We've spoke about the pressure that's on Respectful's shoulders all tournament long, but with now Na'Vi exiting the tournament, do you think that maybe relieves a little bit of pressure on Respectful? Because I certainly do. And it looked like he was confident as ever, going for that flank, being the last player remaining, and he used grenades to best ability to ensure that he stopped that flag in a pivotal moment.
What a few weeks Respectful's had, being dropped by the partner team in no man's land, gets onto Online Warriors, and now all of a sudden he finds himself on the best team. But CTF Bazaar 2-1. Live Fire Slayer's up next.
Live Fire Slayer is often a playground for all 8 of these players when it comes to not just matchmaking, but also competitive games. They all know how to navigate it by this time. They all know what weapons they need to be picking up. But when it does come to Slayer, on LAN, in a pressure moment like this, It's about that teamwork. It's about making sure you don't get lost in the moment and you're not trying to take too many 1v1s. You're not trying to flank too much unless it is practiced, unless it is communicated. So this is going to be a situation where Quadrant, they need to keep tabs of Acend here. They can't allow the likes of Respectful, Snipe Drone to start running and controlling this map. Otherwise, they could very quickly find themselves snowballing out of control. From the mental side of things, this game is far bigger for Quadrant than it is for Acend. They need to get on the board here. And even though game 2 in a best of 5 is absolutely imperative, you could still say the same here in a best of 7. If you go 2-0 down, Acend start to believe that this is going to be a cakewalk. We're underway then. So far, it's your regular scheduled programming. Acend up 1-0. Quadrant with ambitions of changing that here, and at least making Acend sweat in our grand finals. But the opening engagements have gone the way of Acend. 3 kills going their favor. It's 4-1. Sniper rifle is going to be so important throughout this game. We've seen what several members of this lineup can do with it, and there's a body shot from Snipe Drone. That's what you need, at least bodies from your sniper player. Overshield now picked up from Acend. And the bodies hit the floor. 6 kills to 2. SLG, the latest one to hit the respawn screen. You can see exactly why Quadrant put the brakes on, slammed the car into reverse. They see overshields coming down, bearing down on them. 2 kills from Sika. It's 9 kills to 3, and it's one-way traffic right now. Respectful says that Acend play in a chaotic manner. They thrive in chaos, but I do feel like it is kind of structured chaos. Whereas Quadrant, they want to slow this game down. They want to play a more normal, methodical style of Halo Infinite, but Acend are not allowing them to do that right now. Taking a 1v1 with Snipe Drone. The experience of Snipe Drone, recognizes he's down in the fight, starts wasting that sniper ammo. He knows just how important, he knows just how lethal Quadrant can be with it. Just 1 bullet left as he goes down, so that's job done from Snipe Drone as far as he's concerned. Quadrant, I think, might be disappointed they don't get much ammo to work with, but Quadrant are slowly but surely crawling their way back into this one. A big few kills going in their favor. SLG gets 1 sniper bullet to work with. Can he make it work though? Oh! Yes, he can! Legend dispatched. 10 kills to 11. More of that, please, SLG. Overshield in 10. Acend were able to get the first. Quadrant trying to situate themselves so they can get angles for it, but they've lost 2 players. And SLG knows he's got a lot of responsibility here, but with the heat wave in favor of Acend, another overshield is going to be popped into their chest. And with a 4-kill advantage plus an overshield, Quadrant have got to try and play this one so slow. You need to try and avoid the overshield at all costs, or get a plasma pistol. The other side of things, an opportunity for Acend to add insult to injury, to compound the misery. 16 kills to 11. The overshield hasn't been a factor just yet. That player over towards B has been handled eventually. 2 members have fallen, though. Respectful last man standing with the overshield. This is good from Quadrant. They've cut away the numbers and made sure that if the overshield player did come, he'd pay the price. 17 kills to 15. It's a 2-kill game. Quadrant was so prepared for an overshield that they took down 3 members of Acend. They were like, surely this is the overshield guy. No, maybe it's this guy. Oh, wait. The overshield guy's the last guy. That is perfectly played from Quadrant, setting up traps, setting up ambushes, and it fell perfectly into their hands. Acend, though, still have a 3-kill lead. The overshield is on the map. Let's fight everybody that doesn't have the overshield. Seems like a really good strategy for them. But Snipe Rifle now. For Respectful, misses the body shot, has the repulsor, will connect with the second shot, but the plasma grenade will take care of him. Snipe Rifle has been dropped, though. I don't know if Chick recognizes that he hasn't picked it up, and instead he's gone for the commando. No doubt he will go back and say, sorry about that, sir, that's the one I wanted, thank you very much. He scoops it up, and we know how lethal he can be in this map. I've seen this one before. Maybe Chick can start to do similar things to what he did in Kansas City mere months ago. And if he can start firing, that's when Quadrant can start taking advantage of the openings he creates with such shots. There's a reason I was wearing a wig, because Chick loves a wobble in them. But he needs some players to step into those crosshairs, and the respect has been given to him. No players overextending. Sika could be the victim, number 1. But they're all moving away from him. Timing. It's been a cruel, cruel mistress right now. All players rotating away from him, and you can see why. Overshield's about to pop. Chick clears his corner. Sika still evades the attentions of the sniper rifle. He desperately wants to be an influence. But he's being flanked here. He needs to land this shot, and he won't. No montage moment for Chick. Where did the overshield end up? Were Acend able to grab it? Yes, they were. That's another overshield, and now sniper rifle in their hands as well. So try as they might, Quadrant, they got aggressive. They were trying to take angles. They got to the perfect position to grab the overshield, but Acend almost out-rotated them here on live fire, and they're rewarded for so.
5 kills difference. Half an overshield to play with, and 1 bullet in the sniper rifle, only 3 in the heat wave. So look, running low on ammunition, so this next life is going to have to be important. Body shot will be enough. Melee will do the job. But now needs to pick up that battle rifle. He is out of ammunition. He's picked up a battle rifle that also only has 4 bullets in it. How has that just happened?
Legend probably wondering what's happening. Has to go back to the heatwave once more. But I tell you what, if you're going to have 1 weapon with ammo, I guess the heatwave's not so bad. But maybe this is the break for Quadrant. Great grenades as Legend dies. But it's still only a 5-kill game. This is not impossible for Quadrant to get back into. They just need to make sure they don't fall into Ascend's trap too much.
This is not out of the realms of possibility. Let's see how Quadrant are navigating it. Let's have an Astro listen in.
Deux banides. Il va pilier one shot. Pilier one shot, 2 miss. Il va regarde. Il y a 2 miss, 3 2 miss. Il va 2 miss. Over dans 30 secondes. 30 secondes. Elbow. Elbow sur moi, là. One shot elbow. Et mourir. Top tour, les gens. Il est où top tour? Top petit one shot. Mort. Les gens encore top tower. Et un commando. Over, encore elbow qui va... 2 miss, je crois. Ouais. Over dans 15 secondes, les gars.
J'avance dans l'aile pour vous. Essayez de clean mon plat. Un plat. En garage. Elbow légende. One shot en garage. Elbow légende, 2 miss. 2 miss, pas touché. 2 miss.
Je vais pas pouvoir avoir l'over. Sur L.
Sniper's up and a chance for Chick to show what he's made of once more, but he's behind enemy lines and has to hit some shots. And there we go. That's what you need to give a little bit of momentum to this squad.
A little bit of oomph. A bit of va-va-voom. But it's a long road back. Chick has the sniper rifle, but he just can't connect. He can't dot his I's, cross his T's. Shad taken care of, and a triple kill for Legend, screaming, where's my over?
And I tell you what, there was a lot more players around towards that overshield, but they were just able to scarper away and perhaps hiding from that overkill. The last thing you want to do is give any sort of momentum to this Ascend roster because they're already thriving in this environment.
Only requiring 4 to double their series lead. What can Quadrant do? They need to try and take some sort of confidence. Momentum! As Legend finds another. 1 kill required. And it's gonna come from Snipe Drone. They will double their series lead.
And Legend almost pops out of his chair as if it was an ejection seat. That's how much he liked that shot. Ascend 2-0 up now and showing why they have dominated European Halo for years.
Dominating European Halo. Dominating that Slayer. That was close for the longest time, but they just found that extra gear.
It seems even if you go up against Acend, even if you keep it close against Acend, when you get into those kind of final moments where the important kills start to happen, Acend just flick it up another gear. They turn into a different beast. They finally realize, okay, we need to be making sure we are not throwing things away here. We are not allowing the opposition into this game. And because they play such perfect Halo at times, it's so difficult for an opponent to even try and get back into a game.
The tail of the tape, 50-35. Legend, what a performance he had. What the shots he was finding towards the latter stages. 16 kills, 11 deaths, and 8 assists.
Is this one step too far for Quadrant? They didn't match up throughout the entire tournament. They've managed to avoid one another. And I know full well Quadrant, they want this series. They want to go up against Ascend. But now 2-0 down in a best of 7, they're starting to think, well, we need to make sure we put a performance so we don't embarrass ourselves here. The last thing you want to do is go into a grand final and lose 4-0. But a Slayer can go either way, and we know that. Now we get into the business and the objectives of this series. I think Quadrant will be feeling like after a break, they can still have a good stab at this one.
You do not want to go out in a whimper. You've got 2 more opportunities to have a real good go of this. You do not want to go down 3-0 in this series.
You cannot afford to go down 3-0. 3-0, and it's probably chalked mentally for a lot of these players. And even though this tournament has been comeback century, we've seen reverse sweeps, we've seen comebacks happening, to try and do that against Ascend, the best team in Europe right now, and one of the best teams we've ever seen grace European Halo for quite some time. That is a tall order for sure. So this Game 3 is absolutely crucial for Quadrant's chances.
For weeks, for months, we've watched these two teams match up against one another, but every single time Acend have been asked these questions, they've gone to game 5s with Na'Vi, with Quadrant. They always find the answers. They've just been European Halo's kryptonite.
Acend always have an answer, and that is a very difficult thing to try and work out how to ask more questions against them when they have answered you so many times. But that's what you do as a coach, that's what you do as a team, that's why you watch VODs, that's why you go back after a tournament or after day 2 of a tournament and try and find weaknesses. The issue is, this Acend roster has such few weaknesses. It's so difficult to try and pick them apart. What I will say, there are moments where 1 or 2 players on Acend, they get caught out in individual fights because they're confident, because they're winning. If you can win some of those 1v1s, if you can let them know, if you can get loud and proud and try and bring that confidence down a little bit, maybe make Acend play a little bit more scared, I think that's your best chance to get back into a game.
I'm no body language expert, I'll tell you that. I'll put my hands up. But I will say, Acend look cool and calm, and SLG looks like he's feeling the pressure.
I think there is pressure on the side of Quadrant a little bit, just because they are 2-0 down. But at the same time, they've been here before. Quadrant have played Acend 100 times when it comes to online competition. They've been behind, and they've got games to bring themselves back into series, so they need to be thinking about their happy place, right? What did they do before when they were able to pick up objective games to get themselves back in? And that is having a break, a bathroom break, absolutely perfect for them now. Mental reset, focus on the positives. What have we done well? Where have we been able to pick them apart? Chick, can you start hitting some overkills? That would really help. Imagine if he was able to do that, right? But you look at SLG, you look at Chick, you look at your big players. This is the time where you have to step up.
You speak about how SLG has been here before. He knows what it takes to get to a grand finals. The issue is, even during Halo 5, he's only ever gotten to 2nd place. How he desperately wants to go one better here.
He would love to taste a victory, that's for sure. And if he does, he has to show that, and he has to communicate that to the team. King of the Hill on Streets is a very difficult game to try and master. I think a lot of teams, ever since it's released, have been trying to work out what's the best formula. Acend have adjusted very quickly to this game type. I'm interested to see if Quadrant have an answer for it.
Can they work out the riddle? They're down 0-2 in the series. We need to see more from Quadrant, and for Acend, just remain dominant. Keep doing what you're doing. We're underway here. First hill, situated towards the arcade. Rockets ripe for the pick.
Snipedrone just does that off spawn every single time. He just takes an angle, he lays down suppressing fire, and he gives so much support to the rest of the team. 3 are dead for Quadrant. Acend have map control. Acend have rockets, perhaps? Yes, they do. So they've got absolutely everything, and it all stems from that kind of support role that Snipedrone plays sometimes.
What a difference the set of rockets can make. A Seeker rolls up, gets 2. No significant score on the board, though. That's about to change as Respectful steps in and starts ticking away that hill. Can they predict the spawns? Can they control the game from here on out? Respectful has left. He's got information from a teammate.
Just want to keep control of station at the same time. Remember, that's where the next hill will be moving. So you need to try and control the hill and control the next priority position. And that's difficult to do because you've got to watch a lot of angles, you've got to try and watch a lot of flanks. But Legend, he's going to do his very best with the shotgun here. But at the moment, Quadrant are scoring.
After that hot start that Acend had, Quadrant now right back into things. Not only just back in, but they've taken the lead. Shad will live, Chick will not. As Legend quickly trains his attention to him. And here comes the Acend push. They're rolling. The wheels are turning. But this time, the tracks have come off. They're going to have to go again unless Respectful has an answer. He's been back down. Urix, while he desperately tries to stay alive, will continue to score.
Quadrant still scoring, Acend still spawning, and Quadrant, if they can get this first point, it would be huge for their belief and confidence levels. But Acend are just running at them right now. 3 are dead though. SLG should surely be able to get the final points, but he has to take on Seeker now.
Seeker steps in, gets the contest, and that's going to be enough. But it has to be a really solid hold, a perfect hold, if Acend are going to take the first point here. And if that's going to be doing them all the justice in the world, 2 kills going in their favor.
SLG's just spawn station though. That really helps out, but Snipedrone's got the rockets. Surely Quadrant can't throw this one away considering how close they are. That's a big nade, but Snipedrone's more than happy to take advantage of it.
2 rockets go down. That's 2 sets of rockets resulting in 4 kills. And Acend are responding here. Have Quadrant got the answers? Or will they ignore the call? Urix steps in, desperately. Falls short though. And Acend go one up.
How on earth have Acend managed to do that? Quadrant were just millimeters away on that bar. And now Acend, they find themselves in a 1 versus 4. Quadrant have slight control of station, but there's Respectful. Still being a nuisance, still being a thorn in the side.
What's that going to do for the confidence of Quadrant? They're so close. They've always been so close. They just can't get over the line.
It seems to be the same old story, Richie. Na'Vi, Quadrant, they get close, but it's not close enough. And as soon as they are that close and it gets ripped away from them, it's so demoralizing and it's so difficult as a team to try and come back from that. But Chick is getting some hill time here. Needs some assistance though.
Chick gets the opening pick. Legend goes down. Respectful will join him. That's a double kill. 3 dead for Acend. Sika goes down. All 4 dead. This is Quadrant's opportunity.
They have to get this point. I don't think they can afford to go 2-0 down here. This has been a scrappy first hill. A lot of time has been wasted. As soon as there's a 3-point mark, it's very possible that either team could just play time. So you've got to make sure you at least get one on the board so you don't find yourself in that situation.
Quadrant have got to do a better job at staying alive. The first pick every time they have a hold goes against them. They have still got players in the hill, but here comes Legend and Snipe Drone to try and stop that progress in its tracks. They've done so successfully in just delaying at the very least.
Big jump here from Snipe Drone. Gets an angle, and at least will help 1 kill go on the board. But all the meanwhile, Quadrant are still scoring here. But Acend have done so well to break into station time and time again. This is so difficult to Quadrant to get these final points. And Quadrant could very easily find themselves in exactly the same position they did before, where they get so close, but it gets stolen away.
Yurix has to live. Buy time for his team. Flirted with the idea of stepping inside. Chose a different option, and it was rewarded with a kill. 2 dead for Acend. Quadrant. We're all tied up.
Acend just started to set up for the next hill here, but look how quick SLG is to react to it. Finally gets the kill, and that's what you have to do. When you recognize the other team is setting up for the next hill, you've got to fly. You've got to make them uncomfortable. Don't allow them to get into a setup and really put that fortress up.
Can Quadrant start to dictate the pace of this game, of this series? This is a massive opportunity for them now to start asking more questions, to plant the seed of doubt in the minds of Acend. They've had it all their own way for far too long in this region. Is somebody finally going to step up to the bully?
SLG can get away here, which he will. That's a good sign. Those are the moments that you have to escape around the corners to eventually regain your shields and get back into the fight and help your team. Could that prove vital? Maybe not, because he gets shots across the map.
Game slows down for a moment then. Shad gets taken care of. That's 3 dead. Snipe Drone immediately turns his attentions towards the hill, but a teammate stepped in instead, prioritizing the aim and the precision that is Snipe Drone. Deals in 1s and 0s. He's a killing machine. SLG, his latest victim. 2 dead, once more for Quadrant. But Acend yet to stand in that hill again.
Rockets just popped. Acend 3 down. This is what Quadrant need. They need to be grabbing them ASAP, but Sika is still alive and still fighting and still getting assists. Somehow Acend do this. When 3 of them are dead, there's always a player just causing a nuisance, and finally Sika goes down.
Sika carving a hole. The Quadrant defense. It looked as though it was going to be all rosy with the Rockets. But Shad could not escape the attentions. Legend picks up 2. No team yet to stand on the hill and secure it and make it their own. That's changing now with Quadrant stepping in.
Respectful just waiting for his team. Has the Sentinel beam, and we've seen what it can do on LAN and how much it can fry. Maybe not from that distance, but start to get a little bit closer, and suddenly that thing gets very hot and fuzzy, but Shad with some perfect shots to go alongside SLG. And Quadrant are close to taking the lead in this game.
Sika over towards the cafe. Down to half shield. Snipe Drone will join him. Table for 2. Respectful though. Faced with Shad once more. He dives out, no shields, and will not be the first mistake. The opening that Acend can capitalize on. Yurix though ensures to even up the odds just a touch for now. Snipe Drone again. Oh. Beautiful shot from Yurix. More of that.
Legend's been a nuisance. He's stalling this point as much as he can. But I don't think the team is going to arrive on time, and this might be another point going in favor of Quadrant. Acend rattled ever so slightly here on Streets.
And Acend on the back foot for the first time in the series. Quadrant take the lead in game 3. Desperately need to get a game under their belt for confidence alone. Rocket's about to pop, but that has been a real difficulty for them to control and to dictate. Snipe drone, 1v1. Nurik secures it. Double kill. Surely the Rockets to boot. SLG scoops them up.
Quadrant starting to wake up once more. Great decision making from Nurik. Leaves the Rockets temporarily, helps the team, gets the double, and now he's rewarded with a teammate passing him these Rockets. But you need to get in a position to make them count.
They've made so much progress on this Cafe Hill. They just need players to stay in. Rocket connects. So there's a second one. All 4 dead for Acend. 3-1 Quadrant.
1 minute 38 on that clock. Quadrant can very much just play time with a 2-point lead and a very scrappy hill that's about to unfold. SLG knows that. He's called out the spawns, but now he needs to stay alive.
He goes down. 1 minute 28 on the clock, and Acend no. They have to stay in this hill. It's become a mosh pit at times, but they have to try and flourish in the chaos, as Respectful says, because this bottom middle hill is about to get spicy.
And this is where you need a member of Quadrant to get tower, to get bottom station, to be putting down so much fire onto this bottom hill. But at the moment, Quadrant can't catch a break. Every single spawner is getting deleted.
They need to spawn up and wait for one another, but they're getting split spawns at all possible times. Spawning in Tram, spawning in PD, but all of a sudden Sika getting tagged up in the back, and he has the information. 2 members situate over towards tower now. Time going to play a massive factor very shortly as we quickly approach the minute mark.
Well, look at the amount of effort they're having to put into this hill, right? And still that time is dwindling away. Even if they were to get this point, Quadrant are in such a good position where that next hill, Acend have got so much work to do, and they're going to have such little time to work with. Snipe drone trying his best over at Pink, but he just can't stay alive.
Respectful steps in to try and keep this game alive. But it's not for long. It's a 1v1 on the map. Legend up against SLG, the former teammates of Cartel from yesteryear. And they face off against one another in the European Grand Finals. The best of enemies they've been all season long. Acend will not go quietly here. They still want to get frisky.
This can happen sometimes when you try and play time. You allow maybe a little bit too much of a comeback possibility from Acend, but Snipe Drone, last remaining player, time still ticking away, and Quadrant, they keep tabs on it. They've got Rockets. This is all looking good for the boys in lime green.
Just under 30 seconds then. Nurix has to live with this Rocket. It has to find a home, and it does. Onto the Englishman. But Acend have still got 2 members in the hill. They need an eviction notice. They need to get in that hill and clear house.
And then Acend need to score. Then they need to hold perfectly. That is going to be so difficult. Quadrant know it, but there's still only 12 seconds left. And Acend on spawn now. They've got to send someone into that hill ASAP.
Legend is the first one up, the furthest one forward. But he's not going to get far enough. Respectful and Sika, they've stepped in, but are greeted with nothing but grenades. The pie chart pops up. They have one more chance. Nobody seems to be on hand though. Legend steps out front C, eliminated. This is gonna be Quadrant's game. They're back in the series 2-1.
Boy oh boy, we've got a series after all. It could have been so different if Quadrant had lost that one. Boy did they ever need it. And now, Acend are left wondering, okay, this isn't perhaps gonna be as easy as we first thought. Quadrant, they're back alive.
Answering some of the critics, perhaps. It's not going to be a 4-0. They're going to apply some pressure. They're going to answer back in game 3. And Acend are not as unbreakable as first feared.
And even though Acend have had so much success on that game type throughout online competition, the way that Quadrant played it and the way they were holding their setups, the way they were pressuring spawns, it's similar to what Acend have done to them in the past. But perhaps they've gone over tape. They've learned from the best. And because of it, they are rewarded with a victory. 25 kills for Chick. I said I wanted to see the best players step up. Well, here we are. Now this is game time. This is the business end of the best of 7, where things start to heat up a little bit. And if Quadrant can tie up this series, just imagine what that could do for momentum.
Momentum sometimes can be 50% of Halo. Quadrant desperately needed that game. They go down 0-3, and all of a sudden, we're looking at a clean sweep, but they put some respect on their name. They've answered back. And Acend now, they've got to go again.
And as we look back at the highlights, it was a lot of the rocket control on both sides. That was why we were kind of flipping back and forth between who had control, who didn't have control. It was imperative that both teams focused those rockets. But the amount of time we spent in Hill 1 and Hill 2 was why that last hill we could play it that way, or why Quadrant could play it that way. I feared Quadrant would be on the receiving end of it because they went 1-0 down, but the comeback and the fact they could then implement it meant that they were more than comfortable as soon as that last hill came through.
Game 4 on the horizon. Let's talk about what Quadrant did right in this last game, and can they implement it in this next game going forward?
Confidence, aggression, spawn control, recognizing where the flanks were coming through. Look at SLG's face. He said, what were we worried about? Why are we 2-0 down against these guys? We can beat them. This is doable. This is possible. An Oddball recharge. I think that is a very winnable game type for Quadrant. We've seen them do it time and time again. They know how to set up. This is not some new game type that they've had to learn since it's been added just a few weeks ago. This is their bread and butter. We could very much be looking at 2-2 if Acend don't get back on the top of the game.
The only issue I have, the only concern heading into this, we did see Na'Vi play against Quadrant this very game type, and Na'Vi brushed them aside.
But
there's a but.
Quadrant came to life. That was a different Quadrant, right?
Not the same Quadrant, different team.
This is a new Quadrant. This is a Quadrant who believe in themselves. This is a Quadrant who are taking fights. This is a Quadrant who are not backing down and instead are asking for a teammate to join them. I think the Quadrant can do this. I think they could take us to a second best of 7, but it has to be a victory here. They can't afford to go 3 maps down, otherwise Acend will start to really think this championship, it's in the bag.
Something Quadrant done very successfully was shut Respectful down, kept them quiet. They have to do the same again here. Expose any weaknesses they possibly can. If they win here, we're all tied up. This game has massive importance. And first 2 kills have gone in favor of Quadrant here, but it's still a 2v2 on the map for now.
Chick manages to get the grapple. Got some grenades to work with as well, and the important part of getting a grapple into gold, you can get that ball. And you can see, he wants to get it, he wants to take it away. You get some early points, but also you get a little bit of pipe control. But Acend know full well they have to push. They can't afford it for a setup to happen here.
Holding the ball can be enough to send the enemy team into a bit of a panic. You start to early score, put points on the board, 7 and counting now. Shock rifle in Chick's hands. He wasn't able to be as influential with the sniper rifle on live fire as he would have liked. Is that about to change?
The shock rifle, very much a different weapon. Similarities for sure, slightly easier to use when you're no-scoping. And even in the hands of Chick, it is a very dangerous weapon, of course, but he does fall. And we've got a decent amount of ball time for Quadrant here. 27 points, that's a fantastic start for them.
Quadrant already a quarter of the way to winning round 1. But the pendulum starting to swing once more. As Respectful eliminates the captain. And Acend starting to cut that deficit immediately here, down to just 10.
You have to be a very brave soul to start challenging a shock rifle in the hands of any of these players, let alone Respectful. But the grenade's playing a huge part right now, making sure you clear out those corners, making sure no one's going to get any free escapes on one shot. As everything slows down ever so slightly, it's a 3 versus 3, but both spawners are going to be up for a fresh 4 versus 4. And the first pick here, Richie, is going to be huge.
These 2 teams still jostling for position, and that first pick, make it 3 picks, have gone the way of Acend. Numbers advantage, 2v1. Nurik's last man standing, uses the grapple to get close. Straight over to Respectful he goes, and somehow manages to scoop up the camouflage. Big plays from Nurik.
Nurik supermans towards the camouflage, gets rewarded, and now he can use it to try and make an influence behind enemy lines. If you can escape, it's massive, but just doesn't get the swing.
Didn't get the angles right. Sika continues to put down damage. He knows if they lose this tournament, none of that online stuff would have ever mattered. They need to get 1 LAN victory under their belt. Quadrant trying to make a series of it here, and doing so successfully.
Death left, right, and center at the moment. No room to breathe. Lives are about 5 seconds at max right now. And you've got to slow this down if you're on the side of Quadrant. You don't want to fall into this trap of playing too quickly. But Acend, that's what they do. They suffocate you, and they're always pushing those spawns.
Snipe drone adds an extra couple of seconds to the tally. A 10-second game, ball played, map should be reset. But who will have control once it shakes out? Two members of Acend were down for a moment, but Respectful has restored parity here. Ball down, but it's Sika who's positioned over towards Bat Ledge, and it's Acend who have control for the moment.
I'll be very honest, Richie. Both teams look a little bit nervous in their gameplay. They're not necessarily taking the fights we'd see them take online. And I don't know whether that's just because it's LAN or whether the sheer magnitude of what this game could mean for the grand scheme of things when it comes to this final. Sika gets a shot onto the legs with a shot. Unfortunately can't connect with the head, and we're seeing a lot of these star players miss some of these big shots that usually they'd be hitting.
Is the pressure of the moment getting to these two? Will it be whatever team makes the fewer mistakes will win the tournament here? Camouflage is popped, and it's in Sika's hands. Can he get it away? And can he utilize it? His team have the ball. He has free reins. It's a Sika playground, and we're just living in it.
So brave to pop the camo that late. He gets punished a little bit later anyway, so it doesn't really matter. 31-30. Clock starting to dwindle away as well with these two teams. Only 1 minute and 45 left when the ball is not being touched. And it's been so scrappy. Neither team has achieved any sort of setup at the moment, and that suggests one of two things. Either they're both nervous, or they're very closely contested when it comes to these plays.
The biggest series of these two teams' lives here. The biggest LAN event in European history. And with that, it brings its own pressures. And Quadrant, they're wilting a little bit here. But Acend, they're definitely leaving scraps on the table.
I mean, this is your chance for your share of $100,000. This is the biggest moment for sure. This is the biggest prize pool we've seen in a European competition. And you've got to make it count. You've got to make sure you put your best foot forward. Acend, they take the lead, they go 2-1 up, and they find themselves leading now in this Oddball game.
They continue to score points then. Couple of kills either side. This Quadrant push has been cut down. The herd has been thinned once more. Chick is good, but he's not going to get 3 kills and stop this scoring. He has to wait for his team.
Look how spread Acend are as well. They're watching every angle. They're looking for Chick. They find Chick, and now it's a 4 versus 3. Quadrant have to back down. They have to wait. That means more ball time here for Acend.
63 to be exact to 43. But 1 minute and 12 on the clock. It stops dead while the ball is in a player's hands. But all of a sudden, Quadrant have 2 enemies here in round 1.
Sika's gone down. This is the push for Quadrant. Snipe Drone and Legend will fall as well, but 2 only alive for Quadrant. If you don't win this engagement, if you allow Respectful to stay alive, you are not getting ball time. That is such a huge fight.
Massive victory in the 1v1 for Shad. They need a lot more of that if this game is going to go their way. If this series is going to go their way. If they're going to have the opportunity to reset the bracket. But 3 go down once more. And all the kills are going the wrong way if you're wearing lime and green.
And that was all because of the camo. Sika sneaks behind enemy lines, he takes the ball guy, he takes the second, and now we see him get another kill onto SLG, and it's allowed Legend to sneak on in, get that extra incy-bincy bit of ball time, but he tosses it straight into Nurix's hand. That's great positioning from Nurix.
Nurix scoops it up, but he's down to no shields and recognizes if he goes any further, he might be eliminated. He gets taken care of anyway. 4 dead now for Quadrant. And Acend are finding that extra gear once more.
And Acend are leaving that ball bottom middle. It's time to play Slayer. It's time to say, well, Quadrant, you need to recover this ball and get a setup. Otherwise, you're going 1 round down.
15 seconds. The ball is nothing but bait. It's on the end of a string. And Nurix is going straight for the cheese, but it's been reset. It's disappeared right in front of him. But SLG has somehow managed to secure it for his team. Needs to get this kill, but the trade comes through and Chick's got it in his hands, but he can't drop it now.
Have to hold on to this ball. Only 20 seconds behind. It's still doable, but he needs help, but it goes down. And Acend take round 1 here in game number 4.
So close. Desperation plays, but Acend forced them to make moves.
That ball reset was nuts. Quadrant had got 2 down. They had a player within inches of picking it up. The reset was so detrimental to them, they may have been able to pick up the ball, go bottom blue. The timing is everything there, and Acend blessing the Halo gods.
Every second counts in Halo. Whether you're holding the ball, or the ball's gonna get reset, timing plays a massive factor. And it's the difference now between Quadrant being up around them or being down now. They're already down 2-1 in the series. And Acend looking to apply even more pressure.
A lot of patience being demonstrated by SLG just to wait to see when that ball was eventually going to be grappled. I think you expect it. It's inevitable now at the start of some of these rounds. As soon as someone's swooped on in with a grapple, you've got to be sure they're going to be picking up that ball. But Quadrant do get several members down. They get a setup. Are we going to see one of the first real setups here for Quadrant? And if so, how does Acend answer?
Round one was so scrappy. No real semblance of control. Pressure of the moment getting to both these teams. Is that about to change? Can Quadrant ice up? Can they get some composure going? Snipe Drone picks up another kill. Putting down damage as he so often does. He's one of the best in Europe at it. Quadrant have registered now, 23 seconds, ball down in pipes. But there's the last two remaining members that have to hold. And here comes the Quadrant push. It's been successful as Legend locks in too, but what can SLG do? Absolutely nothing.
Say it again, Acend are a team who funnel their opponents into their imminent death. It is incredible the way they just filter themselves through and then they collapse together. Fantastic push, and now they get the chance to set up.
The 5-second game. The pipes hold is weak once more though. A trade will be enough for Quadrant. The setup once more in pipes, but Shad down to no shield. Sika will eliminate him from the equation for the next 7 seconds or so. Not interested in getting the ball, sacrificing time and securing the camouflage.
And we've seen this one before. Sika with camo, getting behind enemy lines and maybe stopping this ball time to be achieved. I've got to say, if I'm Quadrant, I'm asking myself, how is this final member of Acend constantly surviving and constantly getting a kill? You've got to be quicker at finishing this fourth player.
The story all series long, dating all the way back to Bazaar. Snipe Drone kept getting behind them. Respectful, the same. They need to keep tabs on all 4 players, as any one of these Acend members can make a difference at any moment in time. Snipe Drone, faced with the shock rifle, and Urix will not land that shot, and he smelled blood but ran straight into a powerful chick.
It's a good amount of time for Quadrant so far. Ball is there. Do you have a grapple? Yes, you have. It's a little rebound, just about stays on. The grapple does not let loose, thank God. And now Quadrant can score here. It's a 4 versus 3, make it a 4 versus 2. And as long as they don't allow Respectful to get too much damage here, Quadrant should be able to get a considerable amount of time.
The information has come. They're rotating ball towards Elevator. SLG is going to try and be the first line of defense. When he crumbles, he's made of glass. And that hold has been blown wide open.
Respectful and Legend, 2 versus 4, 2 versus 3 maybe because the ball guy doesn't count, just walked on in and pummeled them. And now they're rewarded with ball time of their own. Quadrant not quite able to hold. And that has been the story of Recharge Ball here. Neither team having much success when it comes to those setups.
Plasma grenade not going to be enough to take care of Chick, but teammate on hand to do so instead. Bottom Elevator, Snipe Drone has the ball. SLG tries to put some damage down, but ultimately has to back away as 2 members face him. Legend down to no shields, and SLG desperately trying to get the cleanup. It's taken so long in fact, that the ball's been played.
That's the difference of a one shot gets away. He plays the ball, and now suddenly you're not going to be able to get time. Camo is up, and Acend have got every single camo so far. Surely, finally, Quadrant can actually do something with one.
Jik has camo. For me, the best player in Europe is about to go to work. He needs to. He has got to be an influence here. He can ill afford to throw this one away. They have a 4-second advantage. It's not going to be enough. As the ball resets once more, Snipe Drone down to no shields. Easy pickings for the man with camo.
And you can see there on your screen, even though Chick, one of the best slayers in Europe, he has been so objectively focused throughout this tournament. He's been the one grabbing that ball. This time tries to grab the shot, but that's the difference of hitting those kind of grapples and not hitting them. Now he's down in no man's land, and he's going to get naded to high heavens.
The battle rifle had done the damage in the end. The grenade smoking him out, exposing the angles. Cleaned up in the end. Still remains a 4-second game, but it's Quadrant who still have the lead. Acend have got control of pipes, but what can Snipe Drone do with it? Can he maintain it for his team? The setup, Shad though, just under him, tucked low. He comes up the stairs. Snipe drone's already weak, but it doesn't matter, he wins those.
The shots we just saw Snipe Drone hit could potentially win them this round. He's still alive somehow. Eventually the push comes through. SLG does get 2, and finally Acend take the lead. It's only a 1-second lead though, granted, but this is going to be another game that goes right down to the wire.
Ball drops bottom middle, and for a moment it looked like a Benny Hill sketch as Nurex tried to grab the ball, and a grenade blew it even further away from him. He has the option to play ball. He needs to utilize it, and he doesn't. It's a massive blunder.
Far too comfortable, sat there with the ball. Eventually it's okay, it goes off the map anyway, but surely it's a heads-up play to just assess and listen to the footsteps that are arriving around you. Still though, Quadrant 1 point up here, Richie.
Under a minute left to play. Will the call come once again to play Slayer? 3 dead. Go Quadrant. And Acend and now have the advantage. Can they punish Quadrant for stepping out of line?
Big fight. If Respectful tries to take on Chick here. Chick was the last remaining player. Respectful had the camouflage, and they know they need to get a set of slays Acend. They can't afford to just throw themselves at the ball, because that's what Quadrant want. Quadrant are baiting this ball right now, but there's the opener. It's a 3 versus 3. Make it a 3 versus 2. If Quadrant get a good set of slays, this could be the round.
Nurex gets a huge kill on the Snipe Drone. 3 dead. Legend the last man standing. Can he get his hands on the ball? 18 seconds.
This is a risky game to play for Quadrant. You are putting yourselves in a situation, if you go all 4 down, you lose this round, you lose this game.
9 seconds. 2v2. Who has the metal? Who has the bottle? Respectful picks up the ball. He's got 1 second, and Acend could possibly get the win here, but he's dropped the ball. Quadrant have their hands on it. They're desperate in it. And Quadrant tie up this oddball game.
What an ending between these two teams, throwing their bodies on the line to try and get those final points. Respectful maybe thinking he'd done enough, but Quadrant quickly assessing that situation and doing exactly the same. Both teams just absolutely full sending the ball, and we go into round 3.
And if Acend are going to win this one, they're going to have to do it the hard way. Quadrant making them work for every step, for every second of ball time. The magnitude of this game, the pressure increases another notch.
32 kills for Shad. 30 kills for Seeker. They're the main slayers at the moment. They're the big boys who have been finishing those kills as SLG shuts down Respectful.
You gotta win those if you're Respectful. Do not allow him to get rolling. Nurex goes down, 3 dead. SLG's the last man alive. We know where he was standing last. Rotations come now to top elevator.
We know, that means Acend know as well. They had that death screen. They know where these spawns are going to happen, but SLG sets off remote detonation to get the opener, and now Acend are on the back foot here. Quadrant have done so well to escape that potential spawn trap.
Huge damage by SLG, helping his team secure 2 kills. The ball carrier, though, will get the job done with the help of a right jab. It's 5 seconds to 9 in these early engagements, but time is coming so hard for both these teams. They're not able to hold these setups.
This game is so close, and I feel like Quadrant are starting to realize that maybe this series is winnable after all. Maybe this Acend roster is beatable after all. But Seeker has managed to sneak away with the ball. Acend will take a bit of a lead here now, and Quadrant gonna have to reassess how they want to break this one down.
This Acend team are not as formidable as first feared. Cut them, and they do bleed as 2 members go down, and the ball gets played. Make it 3. Legend last man up, but he's over by the pipes, and he's been a real nuisance for SLG. Camouflage for Chick. Is this the moment for Quadrant?
And whilst I will say, I think the ceiling for Acend, ever since that roster change, has got much higher. I think there is a lot of improvements to be made. This is the best chance, if ever, that you're going to take down this absolute giant roster that is Acend, this roster that has dominated European Halo for so long. And you've got to make sure you win this game if you're Quadrant, especially considering how close it is.
22 seconds to 14. Chick, ball in hands. Camo, all out. Player contending in the back though. Legend reloading, sprinting straight forward, and still manages to pick up a trade. 3 go down for Quadrant. Shad down to no shields. taken care of, and Acend blow this game wide open once more.
This is the biggest difference between these two teams at the moment, is that Acend are finishing that fourth player. Quadrant have not been able to do so. Acend are in control. Acend have the setup. It seems the perfect time for an Astro listener.
Keep trying to cross. Watch out, nice. One shot Mangler pitting, cross it. Nice. He's monked up, I'm looking for the A guy. Yeah, I think they're gonna put goal here. The pipes. Nice. Guy behind you. Turbine shot, turbine. Big turbine Chad. Bottom tower and top tower. Weak bottom tower. Chad's still turbine, I can grapple it. Watch my pipes. Yeah, watch it. Triangle. I died from triangle. Alright, sweet Chad. Hey, one guy batteries shooting at you. Batteries is going to drop. He's jumping. Yeah, watch I'm gonna die. Nice. Two. Mike, watch me. Watch me. I'm bleeding. They're gonna play for the camo though. He's watch out, bottom mid. Dead. Watch my top goal. I'm here. Oh, on me. Whatever. On me, Seeker. Go upstairs, I can't. Go upstairs, one shot. Other one, top goal. Camo's up. Top goal going pipes. Yeah, we have to get this camo. Nice.
Lines of communication, so clear. They leave space for one another. They seem composed here. And they have extended their lead, 66-28. Ball possession though for Quadrant. SLG quite literally has the game in his hands, and he's opted to drop it here and prioritize slaying out Legend. He's been successful in that task, but can he get more points on the board and cling on to this game?
Great eagle eyes from SLG. They gave up that camouflage. They knew full well it was going to push from somewhere, and they just kept tabs on where it could be coming from. They still find themselves 30 points behind, but that's some big kills. Quadrant just need to try and stay alive with this passage of play. Ascend sending everything through pipes right now.
66 then to 36.
Yeah,
just under 2 minutes on the clock, and Shad desperating the ball. That will hurt your chances as you go down a member here. Sika though, in trouble. Respectful, finds one more shot. Picks up two though. Went down to no shields, it's criminal. He shouldn't be allowed to do it, but he's having a massive influence on this game.
Quadrant are getting caught in that passage in pipes far too much. It's so easy to nade. Again, Nurix goes down to no shields. They need a different approach. They need to go from control, which they do, and maybe send some people through turbine now. You've got to collapse, but don't funnel yourself into grenades.
77-36, and Legend on his way out the door sticks one and picks up 2 kills as a result. And when kills like that start to go against you, you start to think it's not your day.
Could very easily come down to time again here, Jersey. 1 minute and 18. Ascend not in possession of the ball. It's in no man's land. SLG will recover it, but he's also very vulnerable, and camouflage is coming up.
Camo and ball in the same position. Vulnerable, bottom middle, no man's land. Sika steps out. He hasn't been able to pick it up. He didn't get close enough, and he's fallen victim to Nurix. Shad picks up 2. This is Quadrant's opportunity. This is Quadrant's moment.
Camouflage, ball, all the tools you need. 50 seconds remaining. Get it to blue, get it to elevator. It doesn't matter, get it somewhere where you can get a setup on the go. You're 30 points behind, and you had Camo, but Snipe Drone with the shot of the century to rip Camo right off his face.
This hold has to be good. The issue is nobody holding sight lines. Ball has been dropped. Snipe Drone punches a hole in the defense once more and gets 2.
Massive from Snipe Drone, not only kills the camo, goes in, gets a double, 38 seconds left on the clock, 20 points separate the two, ball has been reset, Quadrant are spawning, 4 up on both sides. This could determine the game right here, right now, and Ascender 2 dead.
Sika desperately trying to stay alive, getting behind 1, elbow to the spine, SLG takes care of him, 3 dead momentarily for Ascend. Quadrant have 1 more bite at this.
Here comes Snipe Drone. Here comes the boy you need to step up. Shad trying to rotate it down to elevator. Does he have spawners? Yes, he does. Nurix needs to win. Quadrant on the comeback here in Ascend. They're starting to realize they have to get these kills.
They're rolling here, but they need to hold. They need more guns in the fight. They're not going to come. They go 3 dead. Make it 4. 7 seconds the difference now. And all Quadrant needed to do was hold. but Acend can play Slayer from here on out.
It's a last desperate push. It's going to be through pipes, but you don't have the time without a grapple. Tick it over. Quadrant go down. Acend take game number 4 and go 3-1 up in the grand finals.
It wasn't pretty at times, but Acend keep on doing Acend type things. They win close games, they win close series, and they're now on match point.
It seems to happen every single game type. As soon as you think you're back in it against Acend, they just rip it straight out of your palms. Quadrant did so well to work their way back into it, to tie up the series, and even come back into that final round to put themselves within 7 seconds, but it's just that one last final push, that clutch moment that separates Acend from the rest of Europe right now.
Acend again, looking relaxed, leaning back in chairs. Here's the tail of a tape. What a monster game from Sika. Shad, very similar indeed, but Respectful had some more huge moments, and Legend, 39 kills as well. They were all putting up frags.
Sika was sublime in that game. The amount of camouflages he got and what he did with those camouflages really sets him apart from the rest of the team in that game in particular. Even though the damage very similar, it was the amount of clutch plays he was able to provide, the amount of times he got behind the ball guy, assassinated, picked up another kill, and either then gained ball time or just tossed that ball out into no man's land. Really, if you watch that game back from Sika's point of view, it was absolutely beautiful.
We have just had 3 rounds of Oddball, and in total after the game, these two teams were separated by just 28 seconds. But again, as it so often does, it falls to the purple.
And it doesn't matter if Acend win by 100 points or 20 points. As long as they get that victory, as long as they get the series, they will become the champions of Europe here in Valencia. But they still have to get one more map. As we look back at some of these highlights, I'm sure we're going to see a lot of camo assassinations, camo kills. There we go, just as I say it. Sika doing what Sika did best. This was a big one as well. No play ball. I know it didn't make a major difference in the grand scheme of things, but these were the kind of things that Sika was able to do against Quadrant.
It's not the implications of him not playing that ball. That's not what the main problem was. It was the decision not to play the ball. It could have amounted in 1 second or 50 seconds. At the end of the day, they're just not making those right decisions.
It's just little tiny mistakes. And it's these mistakes we very rarely see Acend make, but it has to be said, they've been coming here or there, and Quadrant have taken advantage of them, but perhaps just a couple more mistakes on the side of Quadrant, which is why Acend are winning by very narrow margins. It had to be said, this has not been a blowout. This has not been Acend dominating Quadrant by any means. I think Quadrant have given a fantastic effort so far, and that's why we're still alive in this series. That's why it's 3-1 heading into Game 5.
Slayer Catalyst is going to be our Game 5. Dan, talk to me about Quadrant's chances.
What a game to have as Game 5 here. I think that we've heard from enough of the pros that not everyone knows how to play this one. Some people don't like it that much, but you've got to play it now in a grand final. And if I'm Quadrant, I'm saying, okay, this is our best chance, if any, to maybe disrupt an Acend roster who have said live on stream, Respectful said in his interview, we have not practiced Catalyst Slayer. If I'm Quadrant, I'm saying, okay, let's take advantage of that. Where are their weaknesses? What did we see them fail at earlier when they were playing it? And it was sending too many individuals down for flanks. It was not pairing up enough. It was not prioritizing the overshield enough. So Quadrant, that's the key things they need to be hitting here. Get that overshield, stick together, punish this Acend roster.
Is the pressure now off Acend? They're on match point. They have an insurance policy of a bracket reset. It is Quadrant now who have to make moves, because if they do not, if they fail here, they will bow out in second place, and Acend will take grand finals.
Quadrant have to essentially reverse sweep. I know it's not going to be a complete one, but they have to win 3 on the trot. But it has to start here. First overshield, though. I talk about prioritization. It just about slips off the map. Good body language from the Spartan there to turn away.
Turns away, tosses that overshield off. We will not be seeing it here and now. Opening kills, though. It's a 1-kill advantage. The shape of Quadrant. Chick tries to soar towards the heavens, but 2 go down. And Legend desperately trying to escape with his life. And Urix looking to chase, but will that catch him out? It doesn't this time. He doesn't pay. We're all tied up.
And where's the sword? That's my question. Is it still on the map? Has anyone picked it up? Because that was the difference maker when Acend played earlier on in this tournament, and when they lost, it was about 50 to 30 something, so they did go down quite heavily. They were getting sliced and diced. So if I'm Quadrant, get that sword, punish Acend, make sure you're using it to your best effect.
The opportunities here for Quadrant to get right back into this series. They have to be ready to seize and capture it though. And that sword you were asking questions about, it's in the hands of Shad. Can he be an influence? And as soon as we switch over, the curse of the commentator rings through.
You've got a big responsibility when you have that sword. Not only have you got to get kills, you've got to stay alive so you don't pass it to the other team. Similarly to the skewer here for SLG. He will fall, but at least there is a trade and at least Quadrant know where that skewer is going to be falling.
Skewer down. Will not play a part, at least for now. He has not conveyed the information, and if he has, Quadrant are not prioritizing it here, opting for the gunfights. Bottom ramp, snipe drone, banks a nade up, sword though in his hands, overshield about to pop up. Quadrant with a 2-kill slender lead. Chick secures the overshield, picks back up the grapple, and he wants a fist fight.
Take advantage of this now. You've got power weapons, you've got the power-ups, you've got all the tools you need to try and get a big old lead. As long as you don't get back-whacked, which he won't, but he needs a little bit of support here, does Chick. It's 14-9, and they're starting to take a very commanding lead here.
Stays alive. It's a 5-kill lead. Snipe drone still over there being a nuisance, a thorn in the side. He goes down eventually. Currently on 0-4, you have to feel that is why we see Quadrant with such a lead. Chick hitting those shots. 6 kills the difference now. Can Quadrant build on this, or will they leave the door slightly ajar?
It's something that Acend were guilty of earlier, and it was just chasing kills a little bit too much and also getting singled out, individuals running into fights perhaps they shouldn't, and Quadrant, they're sticking together a little bit better. Chick completely saving his teammate who was one shot, and here's Legend again on his own, and if he goes down, this is going to be same old story. He has to be listening to the rest of the team, he has to be staying with the rest of the team.
Well, speaking of listening, let's see if Quadrant are doing that with their communication. We have an Astro listening.
Je suis à gauche, je suis à gauche.
Je suis
en commando, je suis en commando.
Complète, à ton pilier, loup.
Sur ma commando, loup.
Il est très lourd sur toi.
Moi, jette sur moi. Mort.
Nice, bien joué.
Encore un sur moi, encore un sur moi.
Encore sur Shad et les deux.
J'arrive, Shad.
Il y en a un green.
Il est one shot.
Il est one.
Attends, je suis coach. One shot, le pilier gauche.
Je vais pour le score.
Spoon green. Over dans 25. Spoon green. Je vais essayer de jouer le score, c'est un peu tard, mais.
Je les mets green.
J'ai pas.
Ouais, green, ça joue sur vous.
J'ai score.
Je respecte. Moi je te respecte en dark. De votre
Tout seul,
côté.
on est 3.
Essayez de push de votre côté, ils sont deux sur moi.
Allez, c'est sur moi. Ça push en green, ça push en green.
Over a joué dans 10.
Il y en a en haut. Oui, sur moi. Les gens bien touchés avec un réponse.
Green 2, il y a un mec en green 2. Green 2 one shot. Green 1 mort.
Mais ça c'est sur ma croix à prendre d'ailleurs.
Over a joué. Le pit, sur toi, c'est calme.
One shot, c'est calme. Encore un grande porte. Retourne-toi, Polo, il est one shot. Il y a absolute. Il y a un mec grande porte, qui a cette grande picture sur Polo.
Quadrant have put some real breathing space between them and Acend now, and they keep securing these overshields. This is far better from Quadrant.
This is far better, and it's a very big lead, but of course you've got to be careful. We've seen leads like this thrown away on Catalyst Slayer. It can be such a swingy game type when that sword is in the hands of your opposition. So if you're Quadrant, you've got to make sure you keep that sword in your possession, or if it's not, get that repulsor, get that sword away from you, otherwise that will happen, but now it's in their possession.
They have got to minimize risk. They cannot throw away lives frivolously here. 8 kills the lead. Can they build upon this? And furthermore, can they build in the series? They're starting to heat up. It's at the right possible time, the last possible time. They cannot drop any more games here.
SOG gets taken down. Sword in the hands now of Acend. And we are going to see a chance for Acend to get back in this game. And I will say, if Legend starts playing with the rest of this team, then Quadrant should be worried, because then the team shot will start coming to effect. Maybe some of these slays go in their favor, where previously they wouldn't have. It's only a 5-kill game. That big lead is being chopped away by Acend.
And when you have such a big lead, and you see it disappearing right before your very eyes, you start to make different decisions.
Hip.
And Chick with the sword. Respectful with the sword. One has repulsor, one has grapple. They're controlling the sandbox. And Respectful drives the sword straight through Nurix's heart.
That's perfect for Chick. He takes down the other sword player with a couple of grenades. I'd say repulsor probably beats grapple in a game of Grapple, Repulsor, and Scissors. I didn't know the third one, so I just went with Scissors.
Drop Shield?
Drop Shield probably would have been the wise decision, but it's okay, my brain doesn't work quick enough. 35, make it 36, killing spree for Chick.
10 kills then. They need to hold out. Still remains at 10. 2 members go down for Acend. They're leaving it on the table again, and Quadrant are hungry.
Quadrant are so hungry. You can see it by the way they're moving around this map together. They're not allowing Acend to escape. This is what went wrong in Recharge. The 4th player would get away as one shot. Quadrant weren't quite finishing those kills. They have been finishing those kills here in Slayer in a game type where you have to.
We had a brief listen-in. The communication seemed much better. It was less frantic. It was controlled, it was precise.
One day I'm going to learn French. Because if the French players are going to dominate the European scene and we're having these listen-ins, someone's got to be able to relay these things.
Rosetta Stone will be our best friend. 2 kills once more go in Quadrant's favor. 42 kills now to 29. And they can start to just breathe a sigh of relief. But they can't do it too much. We've seen comebacks like this.
Yeah, don't take your foot off that gas pedal whatsoever. Otherwise, Acend will take advantage of it, and they will get back into this game. We know Acend are shaky on this game type, though. Quadrant would have been confident. Sword in the hands of Snipe Drone, and he's got the skewer as well. This is a big old combo to be working with. A lot of responsibility in his hands.
2 kills have gone in their favor as well.
There we go.
Sword dropped. Opts to keep the skewer. He hasn't got a battle rifle, so if he misses, he has to get out of dodge. Commando will be scooped up, and that can be a difficult weapon to master at times. But no doubt, he has the ability to use it if he so requires. The issue we have here is Acend. They're completely separated. They're scattered.
You want to try and keep as much distance between yourself and that skewer. Remember, it's a projectile weapon, so you have to lead those shots if you are firing from a distance. Snipe Drone trying to close the gap ever so slightly. Not just with the skewer, but also in this game! And that's what you need to be doing to try and get your team back into the game. 9 kills now, make it 10 once more. Quadrant only 3 away.
Snipe Drone driving stakes through Quadrant. They're not vampires, they limp through though. 3 kills left. Can Quadrant secure them and push this series even further? Seek it down to no shields, as is Shad, but he comes out on top once more. Little mistakes like that. We only need 1. Snipe Drone's the last man standing. No longer. This series is 3-2. Quadrant get right back into things.
Quadrant stay alive. The first piece of the puzzle has been placed, and they require 2 more if they're to win this series. They require another series if they're to win this tournament. But first you have to approach this bridge before you think about the second. A very successful and well-played game there on Catalyst, taking advantage of the same mistakes we saw earlier from Acend. Clearly they're not comfortable in that game type, but that's okay if you're Acend. You can have those 1 or 2 games that maybe you're not so comfortable on, but you need to make up for it in game number 6. Otherwise, things start to look a little bit scary.
Now we're starting to learn. Catalyst Slayer, perhaps an Achilles heel of Acend. Do they have more? And the question is the next one that Quadrant can take?
I think Quadrant and the Quadrant fans and Chick's parents who are in the audience are all hoping so. And I think any fans of Halo in general may be hoping so as well, because I'm sure they'd love to see a reset. But first, they'd have to win that Game 6 before even thinking about Game 7 and a reset. There's the stats on your screen. 15 kills for Shad. I've got to say, he did step up. A lot of overshields that he had to work with. The prioritization was on point for this Quadrant roster. 4.6k damage. You can't argue against that.
So Acend make this series even more interesting. 3-2, they've given 1 away here. But remember, they remain on match point. They just need to win 1 of these next 2.
Oh, Acend put themselves in the best position possible where they can give away a Slayer and they can go back into an objective. We always say, oh yeah, Slayers, they can be won by the lower seed. Sometimes it's going to be advantage for the lower seed. Well, Acend, they need to prove that now as they go into this objective game. They can't afford a mistake. They can't afford to allow Quadrant to gain any sort of momentum. Shut it down now, win this tournament. Otherwise, you do give that path to victory back to your opponents.
We spoke about exploiting the weaknesses of Acend. And up next, we've got Strongholds live fire. Now, the issue is, Dan, I know how good this Acend roster is on this.
That's true, but that being said, I also know how good Quadrant are on this. This is going to be a very fast-paced game, a lot of rotations, trying to kind of out-rotate your opponent. When they go to C, you go to A, but a big old battle over towards B. Very much so. And that overshield is going to be so important for the team's chances to be winning this one. You've got to make sure you're prioritizing it, even if it means sacrificing a little bit of Stronghold's team here or there.
I'm willing to listen to you if you tell me Quadrant are going to win this next game, but tell me how.
Quadrant are going to win this next game by out-rotating Acend, by shutting them down when the likes of Legend are getting a little bit too fast compared to the rest of their team. Just what happened in Catalyst. He was pushing on his own. He was caught in 1v2s. If you're able to set those traps and almost wait for him, let's say you've got B and C, send someone to wait just at A or wait at C, and when he does rotate early, you win that 1v1. You put your team in a 4 versus 3, and then suddenly you can then get a trip cap, or you can rotate and keep that double cap. It gets very difficult for Acend if they are constantly in a 3 versus 4. On the side of Acend, you can't afford for that to happen. You can't afford for Legend to be getting in too many of those situations and pushing ahead of himself. Granted, he doesn't do it as often on other game types. I think that Catalyst is a little bit of an outlier, but it certainly can happen here or there.
Now, we spoke about the positives and the negatives that Respectful brings, and you speak about, rightfully so, how Legend was the first pick oftentimes in that Slayer Catalyst. Before, the criticism of Shady was he was the first kill. Is Legend starting to feel now that his long-term duo has now gone, and all of a sudden he finds that he's the fastest player, he's the first one forward, but he doesn't have the help?
That's the thing, they did work well together as a two. Shady would fly in, Legend would fly in afterwards, but they both fly in together. One of the criticisms of Respectful was he was a little bit slow for Na'Vi at times. He wouldn't be engaged in that fight. And even though I think Respectful's had a bloody brilliant tournament, don't get me wrong, there is going to be a slight change of playstyle there. And certainly Legend needs to recognize that. And on Catalyst in particular, he was far too quick for the rest of his team. So now going into Stronghold's live fire, which is a very fast-paced game, don't get me wrong. So I think that perhaps him getting quick, him getting in the face of his opponents could certainly work. Someone's got to join him. I'm looking at Sika. He has been absolutely on fire. He has been slaying his heart out. He has been destroying his opposition in 1v1s. Just go and join Legend. If you're Legend, just make sure you're giving a call saying, hey guys, I'm flying, someone come with me.
Quadrant then. Conversations being made. Strategizing, no doubt. What can we do to win this game and push this series a distance? They have it all to do. And on the other side of things, so much experience. Respectful and Snipe Drone, we've talked about it all weekend long. They are champions in Europe. They've been there, they've done it. Can Quadrant apply pressure to the players, perhaps, who have not been in this situation before?
Are we going to see the likes of Legend and Seeker struggle because they're on match point, because they are so close to tasting that trophy? I don't know if they're going to eat the trophy later, I would hope not. It's a very nice trophy. I've seen you trying to steal it a couple of times.
That wasn't me.
Keep your hands off it. Are they going to let the situation get the better of them here? Or are we going to see Acend finally get over the finish line here and win this series, win this tournament, and shut down this possible Quadrant comeback?
What a statement it would be for Quadrant here to take this game, and all of a sudden, doubt starts to creep in. Acend remain on match point. They have another opportunity, but Quadrant still stand in the way.
Historically, Acend have dominated this game type, not just in Europe, but in international competition. You may say this is their best chance as ever to win this tournament. Quadrant have got it all to do.
Shields up, weapons hot. We're underway once more in grand finals of HCS Valencia. Are Acend about to be champions, or will Quadrant make it even more difficult?
Such a good starting strategy from Acend. Clearly they've done their homework. The grenades ripped the shields from Quadrant, and they're forced to back off. Acend were prepared for that one. This is why Acend are such a difficult team to beat, because they pull things like that out when you least expect it.
Acend reading the game perfectly then. Opening engagements have gone their way. Urix down to no shields, down to no life. You'll have to watch the respawn screen for now. Overshield picked up by Respectful. They're starting to put it all together already. The ingredients are in their favor, and they've got a triple cap for now.
This is going to be a heavy scoring period for Acend. Trip cap, and they've got Quadrant at back tower. Quadrant off spawn, desperately trying to do something. It looks like they're going to have to step their foot into B, but now they know where SLG is. Now they can collapse, and this is what Acend do best. They are ruthless when they're in control.
Quadrant have B. They're going for A. The slays have got to come their way. Seek is the opening pick. SLG wants more, and he gets more. A and B in their control. That triple cap is not going to be as lethal as we first feared.
A huge kill from SLG. You need your big player to step up in Game 6. SLG on his own at B, has to win the engagement, does so, but you don't want to get overconfident. Perfect from SLG. Retreat, defend B, this is your responsibility right now.
Perfect game sense from SLG. Has already registered 5 kills to his name. But Shad yet to register a kill. They need SLG to do as much damage as he can. Repulsor B, Repulsor here. He gets the kill and the killing spree. And he's brought Quadrant right back into things, but they've gone down 3.
He also brought Acend all the way back to C, which has allowed Chick to get over to Overshield, but the clamber leaves him vulnerable. Snipe Drone goes down though. Quadrant need this Ovi. They need to pop it. Shad does do so. This is perfect for Quadrant. This is great for their chances to get back into things.
Bodies are hitting the floor. Shad has the overshield. What's the call though? Plasma Pistol's going to swing and miss on Sika. But somehow he's milking this life for as long as possible. And he's completely eliminated the overshield. A massive blunder.
Man was clicking in his right analog stick a little bit too many times. And a couple of zooms just sent him into wayward situation. But Quadrant still were able to get some points on the board, but now here comes Acend back with their aggression. B now being taken by Quadrant, and Quadrant have all 4 up. This is going to be such a quick and scrappy game.
It's a brawl. It's a war on live fire. And Chick picks up 1 more, but he's the last man standing. And his compatriot eliminates him from the equation as SLG stands back up from respawn, but has to wait for his team. A, B, and indeed C are in trouble of being converted.
They are going to flip. They will know they're at A. Sniper is up, but no one's brave enough to go for it just yet. No one wants to take it off that pad, but of course Chick goes for it, and he will get punished for doing so. 89 to 55. Acend starting to create a little bit of a gap once more, and it goes into the hands of Snipe Drone, does the sniper rifle.
Chick, like a magpie attracted to shiny things, goes for the snipe rifle, and Snipe Drone says thank you very much with the snipe rifle on the end of a fishing rod, and he catches himself a big one. SLG is completely unaware of where Snipe Drone is, but who's going to come out on top? Somehow it's a trade. Sniper goes down, and it's in the hands of Nurix.
Snipe Drone maybe trying to be a little bit too clever, a little bit too patient with his trigger discipline. And that could be a little bit of an opening for Quadrant to work with, but they're having a big old fight over towards A. Nurix also in an engagement that's very important he wins over at B.
And Acend need 139 points, and they will be European champions. But it's a triple cap for Quadrant. Snipe Drone has the overshield, but he has to get to work.
And he is getting to work. He's trying to hold C. They will capture C. Acend, they gave up a little bit of control so they could get this overshield, but now you've got to put it to work, as you say. A and C back in their control. Acend starting to score once more. Even though Quadrant are doing so well, Richie, to keep Acend at bay, keep them at arm's length, Acend are always there to just score again.
2 down for Acend. A and B in control for Quadrant. Things moving in the right direction. But for how long? SLG secures 1 more. And the 2 Britons were in the respawn screen for a moment. Snipe Drone inside of A. 1v1 with SLG. And the Englishman's on top. But the damage has been done. A momentary triple cap. But all of a sudden Acend sneak into A and indeed B.
Who's there to fight B? No one. Okay, Quadrant give it up. They have to spawn C, and once more they allow Acend to start scoring. And their plan of attack has to either be rotate and try and prioritize A, or push towards B. You can't go for second measures. You can't split here. You need to be working as a team and all going for the same thing.
A and B remain locked in tight. Quadrant have to come and take them. Opening picks, traded back and forth. Repulsor in Sika's hands if he needs it. He doesn't on this occasion as he takes care of Shad before getting eliminated himself. 2 down for Quadrant. Make it 3 as the Acend hold stands strong, and Chick is eliminated.
Snipe Drone's just done God's work at B, and his reward, Merry Christmas, it's going to be a sniper rifle. A and B still in control. Scoring start to get out of control now here if you're looking from a Quadrant point of view. New snipes coming up, new overshield's going to be spawning as well, and Acend have their sights on it. Bang!
Oh! Snipe Drone! Welcome back! A and B still remain in control. Nurix with the overshield. And Acend can start to smell the championship.
They really can. Quadrant have to try and shut down this momentum somehow.
No!
And Nurix lets Legend rip him to pieces. And still that score is ticking up. Quadrant just can't slow it down. As soon as they step into a hill, Acend are there time and time again.
Nurix has had 2 overshields. On both occasions, he's been put into a blender. And when you're in grand finals, you need to utilize all these weapons. More of this from Chick, please, because Quadrant are in big, big trouble.
Big trouble, but at least they're scoring temporarily. Sure, you lose the sniper rifle, but you can at least reposition now. Only 2 players up, so it has to be you go towards B, you fight sandbags. The drop wall is going to do you wonders here if you're Nurix, but that's good communication, turning and helping.
190 to 100. They continue to score to Acend. All this pressure the Quadrant is applying means nothing right now because they will continue to score until this very point. As now Quadrant start to turn the gears and they're desperately trying to flip the momentum back in their favor.
Respectful has the sniper rifle. Nurix is trying to keep tabs on this side of the map and he's trying to find Respectful, which he does so. B and C still in control. A's being contested, but that's where Acend are spawning. Quadrant now know which angles they need to be watching here.
This is your moment, Quadrant. You can ill afford to make any more mistakes because a couple more are going to be deadly to your championship ambitions. And Snipe Drone stepped into B, but he's going to lose A in the process. They're looking to flip once more. And here comes the Quadrant push.
Acend back in control, 3 seconds to overshield. This is going to be a big old fight. Acend get the first, Quadrant try and reply. Nurix is left in no man's land. And if Acend get this overshield, you might have to start etching their name into that trophy already. But Shad steals it away.
Shad, under the cover of darkness, pops into his chest, and Legend recognizes this and tries to run. Respectful back tower down to no shields. Will be removed, will be cleared. 200 to 4 to 132 here. And B and C back in Quadrant's favor, but they need to hold now.
B and C are still in control. Acend desperately trying to break through, but Shad is holding strong with the grenades. This is a perfect period of play here for Quadrant. 2 alive for Acend. They're spawning over towards dummies. This is good. You keep B and C. You've got to win your fights, but you've also got to stay alive.
This is perfect. Apply maximum pressure to Acend now. Make them desperate. Make them hungry. Make them step out of line. You're closing the gap. 2 slays go in your favor. You're taking A, but you're losing B. You will continue to score. The next few slays have got to go in your favor.
Seeker and Legend, the 2 inexperienced, as it were, when it comes to LAN performances. They're at B, they're trying to hold B. Can they successfully do so? Right now, it doesn't look like it. A and C still in control for Quadrant. If they get these kills, if they get this fourth, Acend are all 4 down, and Quadrant are coming right back into it.
Roaring back to life then. Nurix has the sniper rifle, and he's got intent, deadly intent in his eyes. But the call has come from Acend. They're going to look to hit C here. It's got to be perfect because Quadrant are breathing down their necks.
Legend was on his own at bottom middle, but he does get the kill onto SLG. It's a 2 versus 2. Nurix desperately trying to help. Has to get this kill onto Respectful. Cannot afford to die! And it's a double with the grenade! B, C, and A in control for Quadrant.
Quadrant then, asking questions of Acend we didn't think possible here in Game 6. As they desperately try to push this series even further. 230 to 204, and another overshield.
Overshield can do so much now. Shad's got a lot of responsibility here. They're still scoring. Acend are reeling. The comeback is happening.
Acend on the ropes, but they're in A and B. Overshield player will descend. They flipped it once more. They control A and C, and Acend are in big, big trouble here of pushing this series even further. 250, and Quadrant will make us go the distance.
We're going to a Game 7 in the Grand Finals, and Quadrant have the comeback of all comebacks. They've done the unthinkable, and they have shut down Acend on one of their best game types.
Incredible. All of a sudden, Acend find themselves in deep, deep water. Quadrant are making them feel all too uncomfortable. This is not a situation they have found themselves in ever before. Game 7 Slayer. They lose this, and all of a sudden, with the bracket reset, the chances are increased for Quadrant to take this.
But how many times have we been in this situation, Richie, where Acend, they go into a game 5, they go into a game 7, but time and time again, they get the job done. We take a quick look at the stats. It's an incredible amount of damage from Quadrant, everyone playing their part. As for Acend, boy, did they let that one slip through their fingers. And that's exactly what we were talking about. You've got two boys who have not really been in this position before when it comes to a LAN environment and a grand final. Is the pressure starting to get to them? Can Quadrant take full advantage of this? Or can Acend get over that final hurdle like they've done so many times before?
They've been here. This has been threatened. They've always had the answer. When it's come to the Slayer, Na'Vi tried, they failed, 50-30. Quadrant, will they face the same fate? Because Acend remain on championship point.
The players take a breather, and Street Slayer is where we head for game number 7. Not many would have seen this coming. I think a lot of people would have been predicting a dominant performance in this grand final from Acend. A 4-0, a 4-1, maybe even a 4-2 if you're feeling a little bit saucy. But a 3-3, going into a game 7, this is perfect for Quadrant. You start to put the pressure onto Acend. Remember, Quadrant, nothing to lose here. I mean, they have a grand final to lose, don't get me wrong. But Acend have been the favorites all tournament long, all year long, 2 years long, 3 years long. It's been Acend, Acend, Acend. Quadrant want to disrupt that. They want to send us to a reset. But they've got to do it in Slayer Streets, which is not an easy place to take down the Acend roster.
SLG has been here before. In Halo 5, he has made it the grand finals, and he has faced respectful. He's come up short every single time. Is this the moment? Is this his moment?
If you're Quadrant here, you are banking on the fact that the mindset of Acend has been rattled by throwing that game away. Acend were 50 points away from winning this tournament. And I tell you what, they're very happy. The parents of Chick, they've been waiting for this to happen, and they've been cheering louder than any of the fans in that crowd, I tell you. And if you want to make them proud, Chick, this is your time. Street Slayer might not be a sniper rifle to work with. There is rockets, though.
Mommy and Daddy Chick, already, no doubt, super proud of their boy. Coming all the way out here, got himself to a grand finals. There was question marks whether they could do it on LAN against Acend. And all of a sudden, this isn't what we've seen online. This isn't a 3-0, a 4-0. They pushed us to game 7.
There was question marks whether Quadrant could even get to a grand final. Right, we were thinking J-Lings might topple them, Na'Vi will topple them, but they have blown everyone out of the water. They've suddenly reinvented themselves. They were kind of asleep when they lost that 3-0 against Na'Vi on main stage, what feels like days ago now. And they've turned into a team who look like they could win a championship. It's a difficult task, but I do think Quadrant have what it takes. But you've got to make sure that you continue that momentum from the previous game. If Acend take a 5 to 10 kill lead here, we might have to call it. Because we've seen Acend do this throughout tournaments historically, in online competition and in this tournament as well. They really gather momentum when they start to get a significant lead in Slayers.
We've seen this before in Kansas City. Both these teams finished top 8 in the exact same position. Acend were always considered the favorites, the best in Europe, the pride of Europe. They've dominated, they bullied us. Is this the moment now where they're decrowned at the final hurdle when it matters most?
This pause is definitely helping Acend. Quadrant would have wanted to get this game going ASAP, but the break, the toilet break, the wise toilet break that Respectful took, just kind of takes that momentum a little bit out of Quadrant, takes the wind out of their sails. And if you are Quadrant, you've just got to be able to recognize what's happening right now and say, look, this is a chance for us to reset as well, for us to take a breather. Sometimes that adrenaline flowing through you can also be a bad thing. I know it's a good thing a lot of the times, but I've seen some shaky hands when adrenaline starts to kick in when you are getting into a Game 7 situation. You know, this is an unheard of position for some of these players. They've never been in a grand final in a Game 7. So the chance to have a breather, I'd say, is a good thing for some of them.
Let's talk about decisions now. Decisions that these two teams will have to make. These players will have to make on the fly. It's all very comfortable when you're at home, playing online, in your bedroom, in your pajamas with your slippers on. Now you're on the main stage. You've got people in front of you, you've got your parents in front of you, you've got family watching at home. The pressure starts to build. Your decisions start to change. All of a sudden, you're playing for massive amounts of money. This isn't for pro points. This is for all the marbles.
Joke's on you. I play at home in my pajamas and my slippers with my parents watching as well. They support me in every single environment, regardless of where I am. But you are right. This is not the same comfort levels. And when we get into Slayer Streets, we've got to talk about the keys to success here. That Stalker Rifle, prioritize it. The Bulldog, we know at this point, prioritize it. And the Rockets is 50-50. It's whoever's got map control. We know that both teams are going to prioritize it. But it's very easy to let that Stalker Rifle go and forget about it. If I'm looking at these coaches on the main stage, make sure you are making and keeping tabs on it so that you know where that Stalker Rifle is. If there's anyone dropping it, can we utilize it? Because if you put that Stalker Rifle into the hands of Snipe Drone, if you put it into the hands of an SLG, they can not only get one kill, that's when the multi-kills start to happen, and then that's when the belief starts to happen and the momentum starts to flow through these players and teams. And that's all you need, that triple kill, that overkill to say, let's push through, let's make sure we're working together, let's make sure we start to show what we're made of.
With Game 7 looming large, will the pressure be too much? As we have a little break in play, and players get themselves situated, we can throw it over to Lottie and the desk to have a word and break it down for us.
Thank you so much, fellas. Yeah, just to let everybody know at home and in the arena, we're having some difficulties on the main stage right now. And while we are waiting to get everything back on track and all of our players happy, smiling, ready for this incredible Game 5 of the series. Game 5? Seven? Oh, it's not drilled in my brain yet.
Even better.
Even better than a Game 5. It's a Game 7. Gentlemen, let's just break down what we've seen so far, really. I mean, what a very back and forth series it has been, but I've got to say that final map there, Quadrant, clearly turning things around, totally spinning the series on its head. And now we end up in this kind of nail-biter moment, especially for Acend, because they're so close to taking this grand final, and Quadrant is so close to resetting the bracket. Where's your head at right now in terms of the two teams and kind of where they stand going into this potential final map?
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of openings players are leaving there out there on the table. Chick playing out of his mind, of course he is, but just about everybody else leaving opportunity for someone to see. So it's just a matter of who's going to step up, who's going to seize the opportunity. If it's Quadrant, you force a second best of 7. If you're Acend, now is the time more than ever. You do not want this to go to a different series because that's when confidence starts to waver.
It certainly does indeed. Something that I have definitely noticed is Nurix today has certainly stepped up to the plate. Bravo, what do you make of his gameplay so far, especially with turning things around for Quadrant? Because I feel like if it wasn't for him stepping up to the plate, I just don't think this would really be happening.
Yeah, I think a lot of games he's looked really good. I think I got to agree with what Wes said on that last game. I think there was a lot of openings, a lot of gaps, and I was pretty worried when we saw Acend up about, it felt like 158 to maybe something like 60, and it looked like Acend was going to run away with it. There was about, you could really count them, and I almost ran out of fingers on one hand. There was a series of Quadrant mistakes that Clutch and I were talking about as we saw them that I was pretty worried about really coming from Shad and Nurix, but we got to give credit to him because in the end, they clutched up in the end. Yeah. The headshot on the overshield player, and I think in the end, that was a big piece of that result. They close it out.
I mean, Lethal, you talked about it. They were getting out BR'd. For a moment, we were like, we're wondering what's going on, especially the fact that they had the overshield as well. Talk to me about those moments that you were kind of mentioning to me while we were watching the game.
But he essentially be celebrating already by now. Like the fact that we saw Shad get out BR with full arrest, he had first 3 shots as well, and Nukes did the exact same thing on A plat. We shouldn't be here. We shouldn't be on a Game 7. We should be pretty much
on the buses, back to the hotel. Acend should be getting ready for his celebratory, but it's not happening.
Yeah, but
it's not happening.
Yeah, it's a shame, but at least for this way for Quadrant, but
shame for
Acend, but for Quadrant at this stage, it's going to be very tough for them. But they're ready to play all night. They're ready to play for long as it takes to get that championship underneath their belt. But the pressure's going to be on for Acend because the fact that if they do have to play a second best of 7, I'm not too sure if they're up to it.
It's got to be in the back of their head, right? Man, they've had a lot of opportunities to send us home, and like we said, they should probably be thinking about popping a bottle or two with the prize pool that's on the line here, and they're not doing that. Instead, they got to focus up on Game 7 now.
Yeah, they certainly do have to focus up indeed. What would you be focusing on right now specifically, excuse me, if you are Acend? You know that, it's a lifeline here, you have one more series to go, but really you're thinking about closing it out here and now.
I mean, this technical pause, I can't tell if it's a good or a bad thing, but it is going to show players' mentalities, their ability to waver like in a storm like this, right? You need to figure out a way to stay locked in throughout this dead period of time. I know it's not ideal. You want to keep playing, but this kind of stuff happens all the time, and all the time players show up, show out, and capitalize on these moments, and some players come out flat. So if I'm Acend, I make sure whatever we do, we come out on fire. We have to stay focused and locked in. Keep talking strategy, keep talking about potentially what they do at the start. How are we going to counter it? What are we going to do if we get into a situation that looks ugly, that looks grim? How are we going to play around these certain specific situations you're more than likely going to run into, and more importantly, get those power-ups, because Jesus, did you give a lot of them over to Quadrant in that game 6, and it made every bit of difference.
Yeah, it was just crazy what we expected in that last game. There were so many situations, so many scenarios where we just looked and go, this game's done, this should be over, we should be pretty much done. And the fact that this is still continuing on, and I think another thing which is going to add for Ascend's belt is the fact that they've never been through a bracket reset. They don't know what it's like to lose an entire series, especially at a LAN, and to now go through it again potentially with Quadrant. And Quadrant, like I said, they don't care. They've got all the stamina in the world. It's not like they've played 5, 6, 7 best of 5s and now lead to the grand finals. They've played, what, 3 maximum here leading to this grand final. So now for Quadrant, they're looking to try and extend that further. I don't think there's any reason why they can't. Momentum, we could say is heavily in their favor, but I think I have to agree with what Wes said, is the fact that that extended break which they're having could work on Ascend's way.
Taking a look at the stats from just this series alone, guess what? The superstars, they came out to play 1.07, 1.09, just about canceling each other out. And it's up to the rest of the boys on each side of the stage to try and help these guys out, because both of these guys are playing lights out Halo. They need someone on their team to step up. Who's it going to be?
After what we saw in game number 6, I got to say it's the team that does the simple things, right? It's the team that plays textbook Halo wins game 7. There were a lot of gaps, like Clutch said, where we saw overshields forfeited. We saw BR battles being lost that should have been lost. We saw even overshields that were grabbed, they were not capitalized on and maximized. The team that simply plays textbook Halo, doesn't try to get cute with it, wins game 7.
Yeah, indeed. I think, right now you could actually blow this wide open, right? You do make some mistakes, and look, it's down to the other team to capitalize on those, take those opportunities, run with them. We were kind of seeing that from Na'Vi a little bit this weekend. I think that is what really made the difference for them, and Quadrant did the exact same again to them in that revenge match as well. What's to say they can't do it one more time? I tell you what, though, Acend, they're looking to end this right here and right now. I'm excited to actually talk about a player in particular, and that is Respectful, the new addition of Acend. We actually sat down with him earlier on to find out how he's feeling about the weekend as a whole, what he brings to the table, and if they can do it so far this weekend as well.
I play for Acend and my gamer tag's Respectful. We consist of 2 French players and 2 English players. They're relatively new, the 2 French guys that I'm teaming with, in terms of they come up in Halo 5, whereas me and Snipe Drone have been playing since, Halo 3. But I feel like our veteranship and their like will to win and their passion is a good gel for all of us.
Oncoming and the awaiting, the gracious Jimbo will wait for it, catch it before it can get too far, but Respectful jiggle peeking gets.
I've played 2 online pro leagues with this team. We've actually won both of them, which is good. We've been playing together quite a bit, building the chemistry, been scrimming, we've been going over stuff. We've got an analyst as well who helps us out and reviews our gameplay, sits with us in Discord calls and watches over our scrims, and he takes certain analytics and data from, say if one of us has a death in a specific spot, most of the time on the map he'll bring that forward, so then we know not to do something in future, and he's been quite a good help.
Well, the Slays have gone against them, but Camouflage still sits down low, but Respectful fires Kimbo once more.
It's nice to kind of play on home turf, so I'm excited, and the weather's really good as well, so I'm looking forward to it. I want to play Na'Vi, I want to play Quadrant. All the teams that give us a run for our money in scrims and online tournaments and stuff, it's always nice to play them in a LAN environment. Also, I wouldn't mind playing against Jay Lings or the Black Hand team, or even Online Warriors. Like I've said before, they're a bunch of good friends of mine, so I just want to play everybody, to be honest. I got friends in every team, to be honest, but at the end of the day, everybody that I'm playing against is still my nemesis. So I can't, even though I've grown up with these people, I'm best friends with them, I'm here to win with my team. So at the end of the day, it's business. Just need to play as a team, just hit our shots, you know, have some good chemistry, and I'm sure that'll come. No, we've got strategies as well, but I can't tell you that.
He's a cheeky chappy, Respectful. He's got a very cheeky smile and also a very cheeky playstyle as well. Clutch, how do you feel like Respectful's been playing so far in the Grand Finals?
Good, but not great. And I think you need greatness in order to win championships. We'll see if greatness is around the corner for us in Game 7 here shortly. But Respectful, he has been stepping it up through this entire weekend. So it's kind of been a shock to not see his name pop up a little bit more in the kill feed, a little bit more on screen as far as the highlight reel is concerned. That trophy in the middle, Respectful wants it. You know he does. Is he going to take the throne of Europe after this one?
And what a story, right? I think this is exactly how we would have written this script if we had given it to a Netflix producer, right? You have Acend ready to close this thing out time and time again, and they're the favorites. They can't do it. Quadrant somehow climbing back and ready to force what could be a second series, but they've got to do it here in the Slayer.
And I think, yeah, talking about the Slayer as well on streets, they're going to be discussing and debating what they need to do at the start and what needs preparation they need to do halfway through the game. Just abuse the stalk rifle. Make sure you get there 10 or 15 seconds. Have the thrust before you go for the rockets. These little things here and there these players are going to make is going to be absolutely astronomical to later on and try and win, or at least try and do the series down anyway and go for that reset. But I think Quadrant right now, it is a bit of a shame that because of this extended break, the momentum is going to die down a little bit more. But Quadrant are very good at just resetting themselves and be able to try and bring this back anyway. But in terms of what we can see so far, there's been some games at the beginning where they were scraping by, but in the end, you can see as well, are still got back by that game number 6. But for Street Slayer, it should be an absolute banger to either finish things off, either go to the next series.
And it breaks your heart to look at the series layout so far, because that recharge Oddball game was one that I really do believe Quadrant should have won, could have won.
Yeah.
And if they lose this Game 7, they're going to be kicking themselves at that game specifically, no matter how this Game 7 goes. Street Slayer is a very strong game type for Acend as well, so that's exactly what you want to see if you're a fan of that purple squad on stage.
Might break your heart, but I'm loving it. I think we got to go to a Game 7 here between these two teams, and I think it's such a defining feature of Halo Infinite, but also the tight competition we've talked about in Europe. Europe has never been this tight. Europe has never been this skilled, and we've also never had this much money on the line in Europe as well. It all comes together really at the perfect time.
Yeah, it really is so important that these guys give it their all in this, and I have also been told we're ready to go back into game.
Let's go.
It will be starting. We will be seeing that Game 7. It's over to Jersey and Gaskin to finish things off.
Thanks so much, Lottie. And we're getting into Game 7 very, very shortly. Street Slayer is the stage, and it is set. Talking about which team has the edge.
It's so difficult after a break like that. It knocks the momentum out of Quadrant. It gives Acend the chance to just reset, discuss how they want to approach this one. However, a little tidbit from Navi's coach, Wonderboy. Acend have never played Street Slayer with Respectful. Believe that if you will. They've never scrimmed it. They haven't played it at this tournament. And that is a worrying sign for this Acend roster. Quadrant have got their best chance to try and take this series and take us to a reset.
Hunger, passion, desire. Which of these two wants it more? Will Quadrant push us even further? Or will we be crowning a European champion after this player?
Here we go then. Are we going to another best of 7? Are Acend going to be champions? Who has got the bottle to actually pick up some kills? It's Legend who gets a double to start with. Snipe Drone follows up, and it looks like that extended break has very much favored Acend here.
Okay. No need to panic. It's 5-0. Rockets in the hands of Respectful. But Quadrant, what have you got now? The opening strats did not go your way. The kills continue to go against you. 7-0. What a start from the champions-elect.
A lot of Quadrant players getting caught out at the moment. Individuals getting singled out. Not a kill dropped yet by this Acend roster. 9-0. They're angry. They're hungry. It's 10. And Quadrant are falling to pieces here on the main stage.
Starving are Acend, and they're feasting on Quadrant right now. The words of Snipe Down. The game has started. Show us something, Quadrant. You're on life support already. It's a long road back. We need something.
Finally, a couple of kills. Quadrant, they waited in station, they took their time, they tried to relax and say, okay, let's try and strategize here. But Respectful makes it 14. Is this the beginning of the end now after such a long and difficult fight for Quadrant? Are they going to be pummeled into the ground by Acend?
The worst possible start, catastrophic for the ambitions of Quadrant. 16 kills to 5. We're going to see another set of rockets, and Quadrant need these.
Snipe Drone, a European champion, but he hasn't tasted a LAN victory in quite some time. And at the moment, that's where it looks like it might be heading. But SLG, someone who has always been the bridesmaid, never the bride, he would love to make a comeback. Remember, in Game 6, Quadrant were down a lot, and they did come back into it. It is not out of the realms of possibility. 8 kills the difference now. It's starting to look better for Quadrant. They're starting to come to life.
They found their feet. They've steadied the ship for now. They were drowning for a moment. But Acend do not let their foot off the gas. They continue to drive forward. They're pressing the foot against the Quadrant neck. Is this the end? Or will we see Quadrant bounce back?
This is just such a slow game at the moment. Because of that incredible start by Acend, Quadrant are playing a little bit scared. They're reluctant to push out. They're trying to strategize in a way they can push together, but that does leave them vulnerable to this, to the collapse. Seeker pushes in, the Bulldog does the work, and it's a 9-kill lead.
Every time you play slow, you open up the map. It's an invitation to the team to control the sandbox, the Bulldog, the rockets. All of these things amount to free, easy kills, and Quadrant need to get the grips of this game because it's slipping through their fingers.
Think about how long Snipe Drone watched the likes of Jimbo, Kimbo, picking up those trophies, winning those tournaments for Europe. And finally, Snipe Drone finds himself back on top with an online competition. And now he has the chance to do it on LAN alongside an old buddy, an old partner, which is Respectful, and 2 new-blooded players. And they are so close already, but you've got to be focused. You've got to make sure you do not let this one slip. This is the biggest lead we've seen so far on a Slayer Streets this tournament.
Concentration so important. Complacency can't creep in. They've got to maintain this dominance. Rocket's about to pop. It's an 8-kill game. They need to get these boomsticks, and they need them quickly to Quadrant, but the first pick has gone against them. Make it 2, and that's going to mean Respectful picks them up once more. Writing already on the wall as 1 gets secured. Fires 1 into tires, and it doesn't even need to connect.
Quadrant need an all-4 dead on the side of Acend if they are going to get back into this. But the speed of which Acend are collapsing and pushing and frustrating Quadrant, it is almost impossible for them to strategize at this point. Legend is flying at them. Snipe Drone's dealing damage from every angle. And whatever corner you turn, Acend are waiting. Acend are thriving. Acend are ascending.
This break, what a momentum killer it was for Quadrant. Well needed for Acend as they lost back-to-back games. But they're roaring back to life now. 36-24. Quadrant are on the ropes, and Acend are lining up that killer blow.
13 kills remain. Quadrant, what is left in the tank? They've had to put so much into these games. Strategy has been thrown out the window from what I've seen. They've not really been able to prioritize these areas, but a big set of 2 kills. If they can consistently be trading 3v1, there's still a chance they can get back into this game. 37-29, 8 kills separate them. 2 sets of 4 slays, and you are back in this game.
Not the slays we focused on now. They have 13 more lives, 12 opportunities to keep themselves in this game. Seeker backs away, reading the game perfectly. It is them who hold the advantage. Quadrant have to come to them. They need to make the mistakes. The Sentinel beam will not do the damage. 39 now to 31. Quadrant eking their way back in.
Seeker was unhappy that they even dropped the game in this tournament, and he wants to make a statement. Hold this, Nurix! 40-33, Ascender 10 kills away, but Quadrant slowly but surely sneaking back into this game. A set of rockets could really change things. We're down to 5, and SLG's got them.
6 kills. Make them 5.
Oh,
SLG! Will that be the one? Will that be the swing and the miss? There remains a 5-kill game. Opportunity still there for Quadrant.
Quadrant were down 11-0. They're trying to bring it back. They're doing what they can. Chick stays alive. It's 5 still. Quadrant have got to be patient, though. They can't afford to be throwing away unnecessary deaths.
This next pick is going to be so important. If Quadrant can manage to secure it, do they fly? They need to pressure here. They can ill afford now to slow down.
When you speak of pressure, remember what Respectful said on the desk. I don't feel pressure. My team doesn't feel pressure. Prove it right now. 5-kill advantage, 6 kills to go. You've got the experience. You've won the championships. Bring your team that victory. He connects with 1 and he's pushing it.
Bulldog, 3 left in the chamber. That's the end of Respectful's run, but he's done enough. And Acend only require 3 more now as Quadrant dropping like flies.
Respectful's experience gains the entry, provides the position for Snipe Drone to pick up another. 3 away, as you say. Quadrant need 10. This is not an easy feat, but still doable at the moment, but 48, they're so close.
6 kills the difference. Make it 5 once more, but Shad's in a world of hurt. And Legend soars out front base. That grenade will not connect. 4 the difference. But Acend need 2.
Shad's still alive. He gets his shields back. This is still doable. Acend have to be careful. They've thrown away 1 game already this series. They're backing off. They're looking a little bit scared. Rockets are up.
These next set of rockets are huge, but Shad's gone down, and Chick could be there to join them. The trade comes, but Acend win game 7, and they secure the championship.
Months of domination online. Questions were asked, can they do it on land? They were pushed to the very brink, but they get the job done. A fantastic effort from Quadrant, but it's the same old story. Acend dominate Europe.
And you can see how much it means to them, elation. And on the other side, it'll be dejection. SLG once more has to settle for 2nd place, but Respectful and co, they're back on top.
Shad and Legend, they get that first ever LAN victory. It's 2nd place again for Quadrant. They're left asking questions of what would happen if we had won that Oddball game that was so close. But it's a game 7, it's a game 5, it's what Acend do best. They clutch up when they need to. And they get their heavy share of $100,000 as well, 36,000 to split between them. And that is definitely worth all of their efforts this weekend.
Game 7, they shot out the blocks. 10 kills unanswered. And that was the difference. Quadrant on the back foot, desperately trying to claw their way back into the game. But it was a feat that was too far.
And what a moment this is going to be for some of these young men. That trophy on the stage that they'll get to lift. And Respectful's done it before, but there's 2 boys who haven't.
And Acend, they've risen to the top. From cartel, from rags to riches, Acend are your European HCS Valencia champions.
What a feeling this is going to be for the Acend boys, and I've got to say, it only feels right to see them lift that trophy after such an exceptional season they have had already. The Pro Series after Pro Series after Pro Series that they have won, only dropping the ball 1 time. It wouldn't feel right if they didn't lift that trophy on LAN in our first all-European event this season. I mean, what an exceptional result from the boys. And Clutch, you know, they're going to be on top of the world right now. What is this going to do for their confidence heading into Orlando?
Man, it's going to give them everything they need to continue to compete against the world's best. They have just checked a massive box off the list. The LAN championship is nothing but a big deal to these guys. It's everything they've worked for, and I mean, let me just say, these guys have been working since dead periods at the end of Halo 5 where there was not much going on. These guys were together, at least 3/4 of them, and they were putting in so much work every single week. They were showing up to online tournaments. And let me tell you, if there's a story about hard work paying off, these individuals have just proven that.
I mean, it's almost emotional watching the way that they're reacting to this. This obviously means so much to them. Seeker just kneeling on the floor there, looking at the trophy, knowing that this was all the hard work that they put in online, all the practice, the hours, the VOD reviews that they have gone over to be able to take this away in Valencia right now is the biggest deal for this team. And how incredible was their performance this weekend, Bravo? From your perspective, we kind of saw every single face of Acend coming forward, having to bounce back, also having to be absolutely exceptional at times. They were absolutely amazing.
Right, and having to dig deep into Game 7 where you have to remind yourself you are on match point time and time again. I was wondering how many times I was going to hear Shersey say, they're on match point, and it feels like, my God, it was a dangerous and risky scenario for them, but they found a way to dig deep in that Game 7, and I think I'm so impressed also by just the way that Seeker talked about the team. They came in here confidently. I think one of the big things for me also is how many times they were doubted, right? Yes, 599 days undefeated, but let's also talk about none of that on LAN. So everyone's putting question marks and asterisks on that. Finally, that can be put to rest.
For sure. I mean, we set up the weekend with the question of whether Acend are going to kind of crumble under the pressure, the fact that we had so many different teams really looking forward to taking them down here, right? You know, a lot of excuses coming forward saying, look, it's online, it's the Pro Series, we want a chance at an even playing field. They got that, but Acend proved them wrong. Acend proved that they still have exactly what it takes. And I got to say, you talk about digging deep here, Brav. Well, they dug so deep at the beginning of this with such a huge lead that they hit the Earth's core.
I want to give Lethal the credit here because Lethal said it before the game. It's going to come down to your opening strat. How about 10-0 for an opening strat?
Well, it's not about an opening strat, was it? I did mention right at the very beginning, and I didn't, I'll be honest with you, Bravo, I didn't actually expect it to be that much or to be that destructive. Like, that was pretty damn good from what we saw from there. And let's be honest, when you're the opponents and you're the ones down 12-0, it's so damn easy just to crumble, let it slide, and just think, well, do you know what? Our tournament line's over. That's it. That's pretty much us done. But the fact that they still managed to come back with a 4-kill deficit and just at an arm's reach is heartbreaking for them, but they can use that as fuel for the next event.
I mean, what a grand final. Look at that series layout. This is one of the most historic grand finals we've ever had, not just in Europe, but globally. This was a fantastic best-of-7.
It certainly was a fantastic best-of-7, going all the way down to that final game. And you can see how close the results were there right at the end. The fact that Quadrant did try and climb their way back into things. They put the pressure on, but Acend, they kept cool, calm, collected. I do have the man himself, a Valencia champion, on our desk with the trophy, Seeker. You've got to be so happy right about now. What does this win mean to you guys?
It means absolutely everything. We wanted to prove ourselves once and for all on LAN, showing what we're able to do, that we're the best, not only online, but only as well on LAN. And basically, we've did it in a good manner. I think that everyone enjoyed the series because it was very close. As you said, probably one of the best-of-7 of all time. As I said before in the interview, I was not expecting a close grand final, but well, you know, like, it helps for the viewership and everything, so I think that everyone is happy.
We appreciate you, sir. We appreciate the fun. I got to say as well, in terms of the results, in terms of what the grand final looked like you said, you know, you guys are perfectionists, right? We've seen perfection pretty much on our screens all season long from you guys online on the Pro Series. You know, it did come down to the wire at times. How did you handle those pressurized situations, knowing that this was your moment, this was it? You had to really lay it all out on the stage there.
I don't know for the whole team, but personally, I'm always like, we're the best in Europe. Like, every time if we lose a map, I'm thinking, we're the best in Europe, we got this. Like, remember who we are. It's just as simple as that. Confidence every time. If you lose a map, go next, it's fine. It doesn't mean that the series is over.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure there was a little bit of nerves there as you're up 3-1 and everything. You get to Game 7, though, a little bit of a technical pause. Talk to me about that opening rush. Obviously, opening rush is so important regardless of Halo title, but very important to Halo Infinite. What are you guys feeling when you just see kills just keep coming on the board and it's 10-0? I mean, talk to me about how the team sounds there.
When it was 10-0, I was already seeing myself getting the trophy. You know, I was like, I was so sure. I was like, this is over. And then I see them climb back to a close game. Like, it was 4-kill, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, we have to do something special to win this. And you know, it was close, but I wasn't seeing, like, I couldn't see us losing. To be fair, it was always in our hand. It was our game to lose. To be fair. And yeah, I'm just so happy. I don't have much to say about this victory overall.
Yeah, I think to be honest, we're all so happy for you. We've been waiting for an EU LAN for such a long time to finally prove yourselves once and for all, and you have done. Something a little bit negative I'm going to go by with game number 6. Now, you guys had a huge lead and you gave away a lot of power-ups, and at one point it was getting very, very shaky. Do you know what weaknesses you kind of... Did you maybe just throw it away and just got a little bit overconfident with such a huge lead?
I don't know if it's that. I think we're just not on the same page. We're not playing the power-ups together and everything. We are not exactly playing the same stronghold as well. I think they were just playing too well together and we're playing very bad. I think that overall one of our worst things is to set up overshield. I don't remember a single time where we could set up an overshield without dying on it. You know, like someone is always dying before activating it. It was not the case on Serra though. Like game 2 we got almost all the overshield if I'm right, but yeah, I think that was the problem. We didn't get the power weapon. They had some sick kill with the sniper. I'm pretty sure they hit some last shot. I didn't see it because I was not the victim. But
it was Nurix from window to the overshield that kind of blew things open.
Basically, that's very clutch as well. I remember Nurix being top mid at some points and killing 2 guys on overshield by himself. You know, like those clutch moments, like hollowing themselves to get overshield and everything. That's the difference maker for sure.
Yeah. If you want to talk about clutch moments, Sika, I'll be honest with you. You were doing it all day long. Whether it was returning the flag, winning a crucial pivotal 1v1. I mean, it was series after series, play after play. I said if Sika was on fire, this Acend roster, they can go the distance. Obviously, they can take that trophy home. I think you were on fire all day. I want to first off congratulate you.
Thank you.
I want to say I've been casting your games since Esports Arena days back in Halo 5, and it's been a pleasure to watch the grind pay off. I hope you continue that grind up into Orlando and to Worlds. Congratulations on earning your spot there. I can't wait to see you guys compete against North America's best. But the next question, there's always another but, there's always another question. Can you do it again? My question, what's it going to take? What's it going to take to break into the top 4 of the North American seeds? I'm not worried about top 6. I think you guys can do that. But that top 4, it's something special over there. Do you think you're there yet? Or what are you going to have to do in order to get there?
Well, first I want to make it clear, like top 6 is already a great achievement. Like considering, I think that Halo has never been that stacked in terms of level. I think like the competition has never been that close and everything. So like getting top 6 will mean that you can beat teams like KCP or FaZe, which is already a really good achievement for European teams. So first, let's focus on that. Then for the top 4, I believe that we would have to play out of our mind. We still have a lot of time to practice on setups and everything because we're trying to get very methodical right now. We're not really chaotic, so I feel like our playstyle can suit us a bit more in NA, more than before actually. Because I remember like whenever we had to break a setup against an NA team and we were playing like not on the same page, everyone was rushing everywhere, it was not working against teams such as Sentinel or United, you know, that are playing very slow, calm and collected. And I feel like our new play style together, if we can work on it, because we've been a team for like only 1 month, right? Like a bit more than 1 month, but not a lot of time to practice for everything, right? So yeah, Orlando is like in September. We have a lot of times in front of us to practice. Obviously, top 6 is like the best achievement we would like to get first, but then yeah, we just go step by step. If we can get top 4, it would be an amazing achievement, right?
Words of advice would be, 1-1 is something special. Staying motivated after you win 1, that's something very hard to do. Do not get complacent. Keep putting in the hard work I know you guys are capable of, and I look forward to seeing you at Orlando.
Yeah, I think it's very easy to get complacent, isn't it? We've seen a lot of teams, they'll just win 1 event and then that's it. Like, you don't really see much of them straight afterwards.
We don't have to just call out the people that won 1 event.
So I had to. But one thing quite interesting I wanted to ask as well, because I saw it in Respectful's interview earlier. We see a lot of coaches in Halo and they purely just coach. They do everything, manage the team, scrims, etc., etc. You guys actually have your own analyst to actually go through your games and to see where you went wrong. How much of an impact does that make to just having a coach?
Oh, it makes a lot, because like the analyst is a guy, is actually using a software allowing him to record games of like pro NA teams with like the 4 POV at the same time. So we can like see an entire setup at the same time. For example, the one we do on Recharge, Oddball and Strongholds, we took it from Cloud9 playing in scrims. That's something we should do, like study what NA teams do, and this guy is really helpful for that. He's also bringing us like starts, because our starts weren't very good on some maps. So yeah, he's bringing a lot on the rotation as well, like on, you know, there's a new game type, King of the Hill, I think everyone is aware, but we had to work a lot because it was a new game type with like 4 new maps on it, you know, so we had to work on which spawns do we want to get, where do we want them to spawn and everything, and him bringing like a lot of a lot of games from NA and everything. Like he was setting up maps where he was putting cross on where we want them to spawn and everything. He's bringing us its maps as well, like showing where you die more, when you die less, when you're playing good power positions, so you can reflect on your gameplay. Like I'm gonna give an example. For me, on recharge, I often die too much on the bridge next to tower, and he told me, yeah, maybe sometimes you're pushing without checking around you because you want to help on Turbine or something. So yeah, I told myself, yeah, I have to be careful when I have to push Turbine. So it's those small things that help you to make you a better player and a better team overall.
Yeah, absolutely. I think honestly, in the world, like the ceiling for analysis in Halo Infinite gameplay has not even been scratched. I think you guys are probably leading in that category over most, if not all, North American teams, and I think we're going to see a lot more of that as the years goes on.
Yeah, 100%. It's pretty cool to actually get a major insight into what you guys are working on. Quite clearly, you're working really, really hard. The results have been paying off. Seek, it was an absolute pleasure having you up here. It's a pleasure having the trophy on the desk as well. I know you're probably going to be sleeping next to that one tonight, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. That's for sure. That's for
I can see the way you're cradling on the stage. I know that's your baby now.
I'm the one bringing it home. You know, it means a lot for me. I told the team before coming here, you know, if we win that, I'm bringing the trophy.
You got to be the first guy to say it.
You called it. You called shotgun. Congrats, man. Amazing performance from you guys.
Thank you.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank
Congratulations. It was an
Thank
absolute pleasure. Absolutely amazing result there for Acend. I got to say, it's just a pleasure watching them play. A pleasure going to that final Game 7 as well in the series. Let's take a look at the results, though. Let's take a look at the prize pool, see what was actually kind of happening here, to be honest, today. I mean, we had a lot of results come in. Obviously, Quadrant clawing their way back through the elimination bracket after falling to Na'Vi to begin with, which kind of is a little bit difficult for them, I'm sure, to get around in their heads, because they could have potentially been on maybe the winner bracket side if they had played their cards right there. But they come in clutch with second, $22,000. Na'Vi taking away $11,000, so on and so forth. But Acend there, $36,000. They got 15,000 HCS points. But I think the big one for them as well is the pride, it's the trophy, it's the hard work paying off, and it's also qualifying for Orlando right now as well, because Brav, this is such a big deal to these teams, and what a boost of confidence that is.
It's massive. I think, as Clutch alluded to, this is just one step on the process, right? Yes, this is the biggest European LAN we've ever seen, and guess what? A lot of these guys on the main stage, they grew up watching players hold up checks that said 20,000, right? Back in the MLG days. Yeah. Now they're holding up a check that has an even larger dollar amount on that. Honestly, it's given me chills. It's pretty special. It's great to see the growth here in Europe. But I think Clutch put it best. This is one step on the ladder for the teams at the top of this leaderboard. They are looking far beyond this event.
Europe showed up, showed out, but it was as drawn online. Let this be a lesson to everyone that says something about wait till we get to LAN. Well, guess what? We got to LAN. We saw the results. It panned out exactly how all of the seeds went. Just about. I know Blackhand let us down it was Blackhand that got 7th, 8th instead of that 5th, 6th placing, but pretty much chalked down the board. Acend, they put in the work, it's paid off, and just taking a look at the prize money as we just did, that was a 14 grand Game 7. That's a lot of dollars per kill you get. It certainly was.
It certainly is. Talking about LAN, though, we have a couple of LANs coming up as well. A big shout out to Mexico City, who is coming up next. We have another regional, a final. It's going to be our Mexico City, of course, and that one is going to be one to watch out for, so make sure you guys are tuning in. We also do have our Orlando happening as well, which is obviously what our players are qualifying for here, and that's going to be so special. I'm excited about Mexico City as well in the regional here, because Lethal, we're going to see some more regions turning up, trying to get there, trying to get to Orlando. Are you expecting some big things out of our Latin region?
Certainly are, and it's a very passionate region as well. Probably one of the most aggressive, and it's just very hard to call and predict exactly what is going to occur. There is a few obvious pickups, of course, a few obvious favourites like we have in EU, but in terms of LATAM scene, I have a lot of respect for them, especially with their gun skill or just their aim skill alone. And it's very exciting to see how it's all going to turn out in terms of their placements.
Yeah, indeed. I think, it's going to be interesting actually going through that one, seeing who's going to be going out on top. We've had, dominant performances from a lot of regions here where a team has really just taken it in. I'm excited to see if there's any shakeups happening at Mexico City as well, so make sure you guys are looking out for that one too. But it's time to wrap up, gentlemen. Wow. We have done the whole weekend. It's done and dusted. We have our champion, Acend, on the main stage, Game 7. Absolutely incredible. Clutch, have you enjoyed yourself this weekend?
Spain was lovely. The fans were good. The players were great. I had a great time. It was a pleasure just being a part of the desk, getting a chance to cast with the family, basically, and Can't wait for Mexico because just as a 2 cents, that was one of my first weeks ever casting. The last time we were in Mexico, 2018 circuit, and those fans were so passionate. They were so wild and just good vibes all around. So I can't wait to get down there as well.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic weekend, historic weekend, not just for Europe once again, but for competitive Halo. And just a huge shout out to all you guys. Love being up here with you to call these matches. A massive shout out to all the players, the organizations, and of course also this fantastic crew at DreamHack here in Valencia. It's been an amazing show to be a part of this entire weekend, and it feels like it's gone by real fast.
Yeah, it's been a few years. I'm just really happy to see the entire EU Halo community because it's been a very long time. It's nice to see the teams and well and how they perform, don't get me wrong, but it's the community which is the main factor. It's what brings us here, and it's nice to see them all again.
Indeed, they are thriving. And I tell you what, thank you so much everyone at home for tuning in all weekend. It has been absolutely phenomenal. Acend are your EU Regional Final champions. They have done it. I'll tell you what, that hard work, it does pay off. I've said it about 100 times now, but I assure you it does. And Acend, they are the rightful winners of the entire weekend. We will see you guys next time, so make sure you're tuning in for more Halo Championship Series. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to catch a flight before I leave. But I hope you guys have enjoyed the weekend, and we will catch you on the next broadcast. So good night. See you all soon.
The HCS EU Regional is presented by Astro Gaming, AMD, and Zowie.